Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome to another We're Doing It Live. This is starting to become a bit of a frequent thing, isn't it? Let's see. Is it showing the screen and everything? It is. Marvelous, marvelous, marvelous. Let's just put that down over there. And there we go. Everything ready? Everything done. Right. Normally, this would be video food, but with these things where it can take ages to go through it all, I've just started to prefer to stream it, frankly. Because a lot of this does require some fairly complex topics on occasion, although I had a brief skim through this video, and, we're not going to need to get too complex with this one. See, often when I see these videos, there's always a moment of self-doubt, right? Before you start watching it, thinking to yourself, okay, let's see what's up here. Maybe there are some really good points that I'll just sitting there like stumped, like, oh god, I hadn't thought of that. Not today. Don't worry about it. From what I saw, that is not going to be the case. I watched like 3 minutes of it, and from that alone, I think this can safely be declared to be the single worst video on this topic I have seen so far, but enough preamble, I suppose. Let's get into it. Let's see here if the audio balance is halfway decent.
Warhammer is a universe where people fight wars using hammers. Okay, not really. Warhammer 40K is a massive, bombastic universe in the grimdark future of the 40th millennium where humanity is fighting wars on an epic...
Excuse me? Wait, hold on. I must have misheard.
...fight wars using hammers. Okay, not really. Warhammer 40K is a massive, bombastic universe in the grimdark future of the 40th millennium where humanity...
No. Okay. Alright, we're nitpicking to begin with here, I admit, but he goes 40K, as in the year 40,000 plus, and then go 40th millennium. My dude, that's not how this works. Like, we are not in the 20th century right now, for example. We're in the 21st, because everything, including the year 2001 and beyond, is the 21st century, the 21st. Therefore, 40K is the 41st century, or not century, millennia, excuse me, but anyways. Let's not get bogged down in that.
Humanity is fighting wars on an epic scale on multiple fronts against all sorts of horrors. Space orcs, space elves, literal demons from hell, humans corrupted by literal demons from hell, the Zerg, and also the Tau. Warhammer got its start as a tabletop...
I mean, no, that's a fair intro. And I do like this. So, humanity is fighting a war against space orcs, genocidal monsters who only cares about warfare and fighting. Space Eldar, literal, actual racial supremacists who once ruled over the entire galaxy with an iron fist, eradicating anything that weren't them. And demons from hell and their human lackeys. How are we going to pivot this to the Imperium are the bad guys? As the thumbnail for this video, by the way, in case you are unaware, let me see, did I save the thumbnail somewhere? I think I did. I think I saved the thumbnail somewhere. Ah, there we go, yes. This is the thumbnail for this video. I'm wondering how we're going to be pivoting this one, but very well.
Game, and at the core it still is. Imagine chess but more complex, where two players bring out their hand-painted armies of miniatures and battle it out on a large board. It's a cool experience at game stores or game bars where you get to meet people, socialize, and show off your cool miniatures. Today, however, the Warhammer IP has already outgrown its tabletop niche and now includes ultra-popular AAA game titles such as the latest Space Marine 2.
Fire is the answer.
I'm sorry, I just saw something disgusting there for a second. Anywho.
With more than 2 million copies sold worldwide. But the Warhammer IP has not been without its controversies. We now have GamerGaters accusing the parent company, Games Workshop, of turning the game woke by...
Oh, wait. GamerGaters. Oh, hey, Sargon! Hi. I'm sorry, I get a bit of acid reflex whenever I see Dawn of War 3. It's pretty normal. But I will actually say too, yes, no, the overuse of the Henry Cavill stuff, I have seen a lot of Henry Cavill's video where they seemingly just make shit up. But details.
Introducing into it the most absurd creatures of all. Women. No, wait, it's actually even more ridiculous. GamerGaters are mad that Games Workshop changed the lore of one of the factions that no one plays or cares about by saying that some of its soldiers can be women.
Harris is the question.
Okay. Right. The Adeptus Custodes were actually, I believe, the single most popular army before the changes. Like, the Custodes were ridiculously popular. Now, you could certainly argue that that had something to do with the fact that they were brokenly overpowered as well, but the thing is, too, their popularity went from one of the most popular to one of the least popular with the introduction of the female Custodes. Now, bear in mind, again, there were absolutely some balance changes to them as well, much needed ones, but I don't think you can declare that nobody cared about them. In fact, I mean, you showed Henry Cavill pictures a moment ago. This is literally Cavill's army. So, yeah. But yes, the most absurd creature of all. GamerGaters are angry they changed the lore. Yes, because without lore, without canon, you don't have a universe. Without the story of 40K, you don't have 40K. You literally might as well wander off into the forest, get yourself a collection of rocks, mushrooms, gravels, and beetles, and play a game with those instead. The miniatures themselves have a history. People play Space Marines because they like Space Marines. People play Eldar because they like Eldar. If all of them are simply just toiletry accessories put out on a big game board which you roll dice around, it's not going to be quite as appealing, now is it? This is why when you take the lore, the literal reality of this universe, and change it willy-nilly, particularly for purely political reasons, which GW and pretty much everyone involved has admitted to at this point, people are gonna get upset about it because it is no longer their universe. You have interfered with the thing they know and love for reasons entirely separate to the thing they care and love about. It's like if you're a soccer fan, for example, and the soccer federation of whatever the hell comes in and goes, right, we think it's unfair that there's one ball in the pitch that everybody has to argue about, so we're going to give everyone their own ball. There you go, we've solved soccer. Somehow I feel as if maybe the soccer aficionados might find this a pinch objectionable, but hey, what do I know?
Even more ridiculous. GamerGaters are mad that Games Workshop changed the lore of one of the factions that no one plays or cares about
Fire is the answer.
by saying that some of its soldiers can be women. If you want to, I mean, it's you assembling the miniatures. You can decide what head you put on them. And this
No, you can't. We're getting dumber. Okay, I see. So, always with these, you have to, like, okay, is this person somebody who actually knows about Warhammer 40K? Does he have a frame of reference? No, appears to be the answer. GW isn't the kind of company to give you, like, an infinite number of options in your box. In fact, there isn't even female Custodes heads at the moment. They haven't made any female Custodes models. They've mentioned a female Custodes in one of the lore blurbs in their book, and they've made a animated video about one. That's it. So, no, you can't really choose. But hey, details?
This resulted in a global outrage among people who have never touched a Warhammer miniature or a...
Then why do they care so much? Oh, of course.
That's...
Then why do they care? Okay, so these people people complaining about female Custodes have never played Warhammer 40K. Why would they care? Why would they even know that the Custodes are an all-male faction? Your argument doesn't make a whole lot of sense here, sir. Surely, if people that aren't interested in 40K look at the Custodes, now supposedly having females, and you can already choose the female option as in the box as you claim, Why do they care again? Like I said, this is probably the single worst video on this subject I have ever goddamn seen. And they're posting on the Warhammer subreddit. Okay.
Said Games Workshop, I could suspend my disbelief for space orcs, space elves, and hell in space run by space demons, but women? If women are real, how come I never touched one?
Hold on, I anticipated this. There we go. I literally went to find this before the stream started. Because this is like page 1 of the doctrinal nonsense of this. Well, why do you care so much? Okay, we gotta do this again. So, as we already mentioned, without having lore for a setting, you don't actually have a setting. If you don't have history for it, it doesn't exist. You might as well be playing with anything else, Green Army Men for all that matters. But we have a setting. We have space elves. We have seen them, we have read about them, we have heard about them, we have seen them in their art. We have lots of info about them. You can play them as an army. Therefore, we understand that they are real. We know that space orcs are real. We have seen them, we have heard about them, we have read about them, we have played them. They are well established. Therefore, we can accept them. Exactly like in a fantasy universe, we know there are dragons because we have been told there are dragons. However, you can accept dragons, elves, and talking trees, but you can't accept a 2021 BMW 5 Series 531i with optional heated seatings? Why are you so bigoted? This is the perfect meme response to this, because this doesn't exist in this setting. This is not something we've been told about. It clashes entirely with the aesthetics. It breaks what is already established, and it is introduced for external reasons solely. In this case, shilling, basically. That is why we cannot accept female custodies, because we haven't seen them in the art. We haven't been told about them in the lore. We haven't been shown them. We haven't been able to play them either. And when they are introduced via, well, gaslighting and political nonsense, where people look, hold on, is this a spelling error? What do you mean, female custodies? You yourself, GW, have stated on multiple occasions there are no female custodies, that the custodies are a warrior brotherhood. Why are you changing your lore? And GW's response was, there have always been female space marines. Seriously. I feel like somebody's sleeping with a George Orwell pillow here. We've always been at war with East Asia. Anyway, I need a momentary break already from the insanity. Christopher Swan becomes a member. Thank you very much, sir. Dizwiz, greetings and salutations. Good to you too. Edward Bailey, sod it. We do it live. Where's your 1940s German hat? Don't have one. I have a 1918 German hat, like 1914 more correctly, and there's a hair in my glasses. Father Jack the Enlighten, another mini ArchCast stream. Hail Lord Arch. Thank you. Mats Lassen, here have my Danish Cronus. Lord Master Arch, thank you. Sieg becomes member as well. Thank you. That's a Bill Anime guy. Making custodies women is like making Kan Sen from Azul Lane ship boys. You just don't do that because it breaks the years of lore already built up. Precisely. You simply wipe away what existed previously because you have a political reason to do so. Simply. Simple. Marjane, the algorithm I've been recommending a lot of left-leaning videos lately. Many ones I already told you, YouTube, to not recommend this channel again. Well, of course. They're in a little bit of panic mode now due to the result of the recent election, and they want to try and see if they can fortify the narrative, which they will fail to do. Calario, GG mentioned, let's go, GamerGate, yep. And Carol, by the way, your face cam completely covers the donation in case you want to fix that at some point. Ugh, goddammit. I suppose I should. If I can remember which one of these little things does that, that is. Chat box? No. Alert box. You can go over there. Right, a minute 30 seconds, oh boy.
On the other hand, opposite to the GamerGaters, we have an increasing number of voices saying that Warhammer 40K is starting to become problematic by turning from a satire of fascism into a celebration.
Do we? This is from 2022, my dude. Where are these ever-increasing voices? I'm genuinely concerned. You bring up an article from 2022 to talk about something that happened, well, this year? Was it? Last year at most?
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
I keep hearing this, like, oh, well, no, it's the cope, isn't it? We're the majority! We are the majority, you silly right-wingers! Okay, you seem to be losing elections all around the globe, you seem to become more and more unpopular with young people, and your narratives are countered to an ever greater degree online day by day. Are you sure you're not the one having a little bit of cope here? Just saying.
Of it, especially with the latest Space Marine 2 game. GamerGaters counter this by accusing such critics of overreaction. It's just a game, you're taking it way too seriously, nobody wants to be a literal space Nazi, you guys need to chill the fuck out, they say.
Well, yes and no. You're not taking it seriously enough. That's part of the problem, because you're inserting your own real-world politics into what should be a fun, escapist hobby. I prefer it if you'd take your hobbies a bit more seriously than your politics, but here we are. And yeah, nobody wants to be a literal space Nazi. The Space Marines aren't space Nazis, but I suppose that's a wider topic for another day. And nobody wants to live in 40K, that's the thing too. See, this is a fine litmus test for 40K people to figure out if they know anything about 40K. It's like, hey, wouldn't you like to be a space marine? Wouldn't you like to live in 40K? If they say yes, they probably don't know a whole lot about 40K because it's a really terrible universe. If they say no, they probably read a bit too many of the books, just saying. Because 40K is not exactly an aspirational future.
So what's going on here? Do GamerGaters have a point? Is Warhammer turning woke? Or are the critics correct here, and Warhammer is indeed turning into a celebration of fascism?
I like how we're framing this as the GamerGaters and the critics. the critics. I think the people who are telling you to take it a little bit easy and not go crazy with your politics isn't so much the GamerGaters, which was a political movement, quote-unquote, that failed years and years ago, but more just everyone, literally. At this point, the majority of people seem to be looking at you and sighing.
Service guarantees citizenship.
To answer this question, we need to talk about Starship Troopers.
Just in case I need this later. Alright. Ugh. Fuck me. Right, let me ready my card of media literacy diploma.
The subject of much online discussion as of late. Now, please hold that thought for a moment and let me pay some bills. You might have noticed that the...
What? Okay, we're...
world is kind of going insane at the moment, with Trump nominating a pro-Putin grifter as the director of US National Intelligence and a vaccine denier as Secretary of Health. The political scene could not be more tense and uncertain, and this brings with it a steady growth of politically motivated online harassment, among others. Keeping your personal data to yourself is more important than ever, and Delete Me, the sponsor of today's video, is specializing in just that. Once you tell them what to remove, they'll scan hundreds of data broker websites and request the removal of sensitive data about you, helping you reduce your digital footprint. In a week, they'll send you a privacy report where they will list out what sort of data they found and got removed. Delete Me will rescan those websites later to make sure your data doesn't surface somewhere else. You can't always control whether you become a target through your personal data, whether for theft, harassment, or worse. But you can definitely make it much harder.
Hold on. Hold on. Did I hear that? No, I'm a...
and got removed. Delete Me will rescan those websites later to make sure your data doesn't surface somewhere else. You can't always control whether you become a target through your personal data, whether for theft, harassment,
No,
or
he
worse.
actually
But
did say that. You can't control if you become a target for harassment, like for having committed harassment. I mean, that's true. That is a genuine concern for a lot of left-wingers. We saw a recent example of this with The Vow, didn't we? Where you have an art director going, hey, black people, send me your portfolios. I want you to replace me. I will give you privileged access to me and to Avowed, my studio. I will give you, well, advantages over people like myself. And then people find that and go, you're a horrible human. Yeah, that's a fine argument for a service like that. Yeah, no. I would urge every leftist to purge their social media accounts and online presence because you motherfuckers say some heavy-duty shit on occasion.
you can definitely make it much harder for anyone to even try by taking a proactive approach to the protection and removal of your personal data. And the easiest way to do that is with Delete Me. Get 20% off Delete Me consumer plans by going to joindeleteme.com/Adam20 and use the promo.
Oh, God, suicide jokes. It really wants to come out.
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer.
Oh, the leftists are deleting themselves left, right, and center. Oh, oof. This.
Heresy is the question.
I was a little
Fire
bit
is
like,
the
oh,
answer.
you've got an ad in here, but no, I retract all of my previous judgment. This is the perfect advertisement for your average leftist
Heresy
these
is the
days.
question. Fire is the answer.
Holy shit. Excuse me. Right,
Code
on we
Adam20
go.
during checkout. That's joindeleteme.com/Adam20, promo code Adam20. Thank you for checking out Delete Me.
Excuse me. I need a drink. Oh, sweet baby Jesus.
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer.
Oof. You really would think that at this point I would be pre-prepared before I started these streams, but Jesus. It turns out I too am a slow learner. All right. Proceeding.
Starship Troopers is in many ways the predecessor of Warhammer, being one of the trailblazers of hard science fiction. It's
I don't know if I agree with that, but close enough for government work.
setting is also similar to Warhammer's. We have a sort of centralized, militaristic human empire called the Terran Federation,
But 40K isn't a centralized federation. I mean, if anything, it's more like an oligarchic theocracy. If I object to everything, I'll be here forever. Just go on.
Link it out with various alien species, including giant space bugs. Much like Warhammer, Starship Troopers grew out of an original niche IP. With Warhammer 40K, it was a tabletop game. With Starship Troopers, it was a book which later got adapted into series, movies, and games, making the IP transition from niche to the relative mainstream. Now,
as the first time I've ever heard Starship Troopers described as mainstream, even relative.
tabletop Warhammer is very different from video game Warhammer, Space Marine 2 in particular. And in the same way, there is a big difference between Starship Troopers, the book, and Starship Troopers, the movie. The 1997 movie, which was at the center of that god-awful discourse. The Starship Troopers book is rather jingoistic. Some people called it fascist literature, but I don't really agree with that label. The book is militaristic, obsessed with toughness and masculinity, heroism and honor, but it's otherwise not covert fascist propaganda or anything.
Service guarantees citizenship.
I don't even know if I agree with it being jingoistic, because it's not really arguing for aggression. If anything, it's arguing for self-defense, self-determination. I don't think these... I mean, literal independence... excuse me. Starship Troopers wasn't written out of an idea of justifying a war. It was written... as a response to the US halting nuclear testing. If anything, it was more of a... oh, goddammit. More of we must be prepared to defend ourselves. We cannot stop advancing forward. We cannot stop embracing technology and proper values as well. Values of toughness, independence, and self-determination. Rather than jingoism, but... yeah.
It was written by a former soldier at the height of the Red Scare and McCarthyism in
Marine, actually, I believe, but, you know, apples and oranges.
the 1950s. So as far as I can see, Starship Troopers is really a product of its time. It's still very right-wing, idolizes the military. In fact, in that world, the only way to gain full rights as a citizen is through military service. And
No. Okay. So, Heinlein mentions that, specifically, if you are wanting to join federal service, they will find some way for you to do so. The only way that the Federation can deny you access to federal service is if the psychiatrist figures out that you are literally incapable of understanding the oath you are given upon entering federal service. That is the only way they can deny you. They will find something for you to do. This implies that there are things other than the military, and Robert Heinlein would later go on to say that there were other ways to complete one's federal service as well. Now, that was not mentioned in the book specifically, but it was heavily indicated and hinted towards. And as for the only way to gain full rights, no. That depends on your definition of rights. It is the only way to gain the franchise, to gain voting power. But is voting power a right? Is that something inalienable, something that all humans always have access to? Of course not. Through the majority of human existence, humans have not had access to the powers of voting. This is a right imbued within you by your government, not something inalienable to you, so... But let's not get into a full-scale discussion about the definition of rights here.
and so on. But is it fascist? No, it's just 1950s right-wing and jingoistic. Imagine a sci-fi universe created by an ex-military boomer who has a Clint Eastwood profile picture on Facebook and who can't shut up about how back in his day everyone worked 26-hour workdays, 10 days a week, and no one complained, as opposed to the weak and entitled generation today. Military service should be compulsory to teach these soy latte drinking weaklings some discipline. But in
Yes.
person, the guy is nice to you and always offers you beer when you come over. That's the authorial context of the Starship Troopers book, basically. Now, keep in mind, while the book itself isn't fascistic, the Terran Federation in it kind of is. And
Hold on. The book isn't fascistic, but the Terran Federation is. How is the Terran Federation fascistic? Again, literally, the only way you can join federal service is by volunteering to it. The only way you can join the military is to have joined the military voluntarily. A jingoistic, militaristic state where the only methods of gathering soldiers is through voluntary service. Huh, that's weird. In fact, a faction as well, a state, a federation that cannot deny you your right, in this case your right is to join federal service, unless you are literally imbecilic enough to not understand what that means. We have an interesting definition of fascism already. Let's see where he goes with this.
And the values of the 1997 Starship Troopers movie are, in many ways, the opposite of the books. The director, Paul Verhoeven, grew up during the Nazi occupation of the Netherlands and didn't really like fascist, hyper-militaristic ideologies for obvious reasons. So he proceeded to subvert our expectations. Not with medieval anti-air railguns firing tungsten rounds at Mach 5, but by turning the Terran Federation, the Starship Troopers, into a satire of jingoism and fascism. While the book depicts the Terran Federation's campaign against the bugs as a heroic struggle, the movie portrays it as a hopeless war started on false pretenses, fought by a bunch of propaganda-addled macho idiots marching into certain death.
Okay. We have watched very different movies, you and I, but I'm intrigued by the started under false pretenses. You want to expand upon that?
Instead of heroic acts, glorious sacrifices, and cinematic last stands, you just get torn apart by giant bugs. I mean,
Except they do actually capture the brain bug at the end and start turn. What? Are you trolling me?
the whole reason for the war is that supposedly bugs pulled the Javier Milei and destroyed Buenos Aires by launching an asteroid from a different solar system towards Earth. If anyone is getting Iraq war, Saddam Hussein has weapons of mass destruction vibes, yeah, you should. The bug's home system is tens of thousands of light years away. Even if they somehow managed to precisely hit Earth from such a distance, the asteroid would have taken millions of years to get there. So no, the bugs could not have done it.
I see. We're going down the Terran Federation bombed itself route of argument, are we? Well, fortunately for you, sir, I am an expert both on 40K and Starship Troopers, so I can answer this as well. This is simply put authorial oversight is what this is, because the bugs could not have done it is correct. If we go by all of the usual laws of physics and reality, there is no way that the bugs could have fired a bug meteor through the entire spinning heart of our galaxy, dotted with thousands of stars, gravitational fields, black holes, blah, 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 and hitting Earth. Literal impossibility. But at the same time, it would also be a literal impossibility for humans to get to here as well. As this is... How broad is the galaxy? How wide is the galaxy? How wide is the galaxy in light years? What, 50, 60,000? Oh, Jesus, no. Andromeda Galaxy. That's not the Andromeda Galaxy. 100,000 light years across. Okay, so this is probably something along the lines of, 80,000 light years away? Even if we were to travel at the speed of light, which is the universal speed limit as far as we are able to observe it, we would get to the Klendathu system in 80,000 years. If it is impossible for the bugs to reach us, it is equally impossible for us to reach the bugs. However, we clearly have some sort of technology to do this on both sides. The bugs are present on multiple planets, meaning that the bugs must have some way of interstellar travel. Similarly, humanity must have some way to reach Klendathu. And since this can't be through just simply traveling through space due to the speed limit of light, etc., we must have some sort of wormhole technology. And there is even a hint about this during the near miss of the asteroid that struck Buenos Aires when it misses the Roger Young. Upon the bridge of the Roger Young, we see a gravitational anomaly that the asteroid is apparently creating of 2.5. Now, the asteroid is big, but not enough to double gravity around itself. That is an object of enormous mass and/or enormous speed, as the relativistic mass of a object increases along with its speed, or in other words, the energy that it can communicate onto whatever it hits, in essence. So, this suggests that there is some way in the Starship Troopers universe of bending space, creating, in essence, a wormhole effect, where you use gravity to shorten a distance. Now, this is not expanded upon within the movies, or I think the books, but it's been a while since I read it, so this is at best a theory crafting kind of solution, but that explains how the bugs can hit us, and how we can reach the bugs. We know the asteroid was fired from the Arachnid quarantine zone because the Federation has no reason to bomb itself, and the Federation's own starship observes the asteroid in transit and would have warned were it not for the destruction of the antenna. If the Federation was going to bomb itself, surely they'd make sure that their own warning systems weren't in the way of the meteor. It is a ridiculous notion, and best part is, too, he forgets about the fact that if it is impossible for the bugs to do it, it's equally impossible for the humans to do it. This is a massive reach to explain what is simply an authorial oversight, or a director oversight in this case. Anyways, moving on.
Precisely hit Earth from such a distance, the asteroid would have taken millions of years to get there. So no, the bugs could not have done it. The whole asteroid business also begs the question, if the bugs can pull that off, why don't they keep doing it once humans attack them? Because
they do. They do. Have you just read like the wiki article or something? That's what one of the first clips in the movie shows the new orbital defenses intercepting further asteroids headed towards Earth. The bugs keep doing it throughout the war. It's just that after we get schwacked once, we defend ourselves. What?
it's all bullshit. The asteroid was an accident at best, and a false flag operation at worst, that got blamed on the bugs to keep the war machine and thus the military-industrial complex occupied.
But why? But why? If this is already a jingoistic society, and his war machine is already at full tilt in essence, as is apparent by the mobile infantry and so on, why do they need this excuse? They've set up a quarantine zone. The ruling body of the Terran Federation created an exclusion zone, which they themselves obeyed, but did not enforce upon civilians. The Terran Federation said, no, we are not going to enter bug space, but we do not have the authority to stop civilians from doing so. Fascism! If they were just going to declare war on the bugs, why do they need the excuse? If everyone is propaganda-addled children, as you say, why do they need this? Your world building makes no sense.
In the end, however, all humans accomplish is getting a bunch of soldiers murdered. By the end of the movie, we see literal child soldiers deployed as the Terran Federation is running out of regular troops.
Jesus. We haven't even gotten to the 40K part yet. This is yet another Verhoeven thing. So Paul Verhoeven has no actual understanding of what fascism is, or what Nazi Germany is, or what the Terran Federation is. The child soldiers part make absolutely literally no sense because of the reasons I just explained a little while ago. The Terran Federation does not recruit soldiers. It does not levy reserves. It does not bring anyone into federal service. You must volunteer for federal service. It is the only way that you can enter the Federation's military, the sole singular way. So they would not be child soldiers because the Federation would not be recruiting them. These next generation of soldiers would enlist on the exact same grounds as Rico did, as the war's been barely going for a year or something at this point? You think humanity's been scraped clean of soldiers in a year? My dude, we have singular nations that have waged war with significantly larger casualties than the entirety of the first year of the Bug War for half a decade plus. This is merely Verhoeven going, well, the Nazis had child soldiers, so because I really want to make the Federation Nazi somehow, we've got to have child soldiers too. Again, there is no mechanism for recruiting child soldiers. Hey. Okay, and another brief interlude from the idiocy. The gym. I've never owned a 40k mini, but I've played every 40k tabletop RPG for 10 years plus. Play the PC games and consume the lore at a likely unhealthy pace. By this guy's standard, am I a tourist then? I suppose so, yeah. Elsie Sonana. Arch, would you accept Femme Custodies if they spent an entire novel series about all the failures and attempts to make them? I don't know. I think I would probably, yes. I would at the very least be far more acceptive towards it. I would still look at it and go, okay, but why are you doing this in the current year? But at the very least, then there would be an established foundation for them. This is what I wish they had done with the fucking Primaris. Sujar, don't forget to differentiate between Custodies and Space Marines. Outside of original codexes, 2004 Horus Heresy collected visions had Big E referring to them as men. Oh yeah, no, one of the earliest mentions of Custodies were that they were a warrior brotherhood. There has never been a single mention throughout all of 40k lore of female Custodies, or female Space Marines, mind you. John Jim, 40k Space War Tourist Hammer, the Sweet Baby Ink Heresy. Oh god, that would have been even better. If the video was sponsored by Sweet Baby Ink, that is the only way I could see it to be more gold than delete me. Filthy Casual. A creator named Pilgrim Pass made a very good video called Why 40k Triggers People. It is worth a watch. Maybe I'll give it a check. Lord Metalman, Temple Institute. I have made the worst 40k video ever. Adam something. Hold my beer. Yeah, like... his video on why lore doesn't matter, well, at least it had a fundament in the lore. Eventually, its conclusion was simply, well, it's just fantasy, so who cares? But at least he made a sort of pseudo kind of argument from the lore perspective. Brandon, I don't know. Do I get to pick what race I am in 40k? Some are having more fun than others. That is kind of true, yeah. Commander CDC. Greetings, Arch. If you really want to hate yourself, do a drinking game. Take a shot every time this guy uses fascist, Nazi, or Starship Troopers. I don't think so. I don't drink. Water. Water. Wuda. Wasser.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
My friend, and we haven't touched Warhammer Conference yet. I know. Raven's been a member for 11 months, thank you very much. Hail Archley, our Lord and Saviour. Did you saw the looking back post made Andy and Lele have on Steam? Quite lovely, can't wait for the next episodes next year. I have not. I did see it, but I didn't read it. Renorse, you're not kidding when you said the worst. This video is painful listening to. I give thanks to the desk Luger may deliver heart from the pain. I pray so as well. Tarashevenko, Arch, right now you are the Junji Ito character at the hole in the cliff saying this video was made for me. Listen, see, we're doing this because this channel has like 1 million subscribers, okay? It is important to counter this sort of idiotic narrative, particularly when it comes from somebody large. Wow, 2,000 fucking people watching this too. Okay, we're succeeding. Thank you everyone for coming to watch, by the way. You are doing your part in gatekeeping. Spread the good word and make sure everybody knows about this and knows that gatekeeping is vital. Coloral, in my opinion, the correct answer to would I like to live in 40k is depends. I wish I was having as much fun as Tusker Demon Killer in my day-to-day. And it's true, Tusker does enjoy his predicament. And Skiki, the Fem Stories Marines fails the first step. What are Custodies Marines? Peak of human performance. They will be men. Even with Tarded Erda fanfic, this is true. Effing women moment causing a loss of Primarchs and Horus Heresy eventually. Well, yes. I mean, we could enter into the whole why shouldn't there be female Space Marines part of the argument, and a big part of it is because it makes no sense. If you're going to create super soldiers to be the literal spear tip of the entire human race, you'd go for the most effective ones, but we haven't mentioned female Space Marines yet. Hey, who knows? Maybe we'll go the entire video without it. That would be fun. But we're still stuck on Starship Troopers.
And it's not like the bugs are a threat to humanity. They aren't
Okay. Never mind. Let's see where he goes with this.
like the Tyranids actively trying to eat humanity.
You are aware the Zergs were ripping off the Tyranids, right? Right? No?
The bugs are on the other side of the galaxy and generally don't bother you unless you bother them first, which humans did by settling on the Bugs' home planet. During the closing,
What?
the Tyranids actively trying to eat humanity. The Bugs are on the other side of the galaxy and generally don't bother you unless you bother them first, which humans did by settling on the Bugs' home planet.
Did you even watch the fucking movie, my brother? No. Right, let's go back over this. Firstly, the Bugs struck first against the Terran Federation via the asteroid strike on Earth. The only previous aggression made by humanity were a bunch of non-Terran Federation associated civilians, the Mormons, deciding against the Terran Federation's explicit warnings and urgings to settle within the the Arachnid, quarantine zone. They didn't settle on...
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Fucking hell. Well, that was sudden. Ah, mass audio feedback. My headphones are dying.
During the closing,
I need to buy a new headset, as that nearly scared the shit out of me. And blow up my eardrums. God help me. New headphones. Luckily, Christmas is right around the corner. Right, so, no, they didn't settle on Klendathu. And again, here's the thing. If the Bugs were not a we don't bother you species, you know what they would have done? They would have gone, hey, humanity, this is our planet, you know, we claim this for our own. We know that your military isn't entering this area, so clearly you have some understanding of this, right? We are now making diplomatic overtures to you to explain that this is ours. They didn't. They went, hey, there are humans here. Nom 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 nom. Slaughter. And then it's like, hey, there are humans over there too. Let's start firing bug meteors at them. And I wonder, could the movie possibly have explained why that was the case? Let's see. Oh yes, it did. The brain bugs. So the Mormon colonists that came to one of the worlds within the quarantine zone, again against the Terran Federation's explicit warning and urgings not to do so, but the fascist government apparently can't stop people from traveling somehow. The Bugs then ate most of them and sucked the brains out of others of them, thus learning the location of Earth, thus learning the center of the Terran Federation's military command structure, as the asteroid was initially intended to hit Geneva, the heart of the Terran Federation's command and control structure, the Terran Council. But, due to the fact that it collided with the Roger Young, that minuscule impact pushed the meteor just a tiny fraction of a millidegree off course, which, on a course the size of, you know, the galaxy, makes for a deviation that strikes Buenos Aires and not Geneva. That was the Bugs' first strategic blow, meant to decapitate us. They don't leave us alone. They didn't know we were there until they ate some of us and thought, right, extermination is the answer.
Scene of the Starship Troopers movie, the soldiers capture a brain bug, the Bugs' equivalent of a command and control vehicle, basically. In this scene, Neil Patrick Harris...
More like the Bugs' equivalent of royalty, really, rather than command and control, but okay.
reads the brain bug's emotions and loudly proclaims it's afraid to the soldiers around him, after which everyone erupts in cheers and the whole scene is played off seemingly as the glorious ending of a righteous military campaign. Except it's not, and the movie goes to great lengths showing you why in the 2 hours preceding this scene. First off, as I've said, it was the humans who attacked first.
You're wrong and retarded.
Bugs did not start this conflict.
You're wrong and retarded.
They were attacked based on false pretenses, and they decimated the humans for it. I mean,
you're wrong and retarded, but they did decimate the humans.
If the literal child soldiers by the end aren't indication enough, I don't know what to tell you.
It's probably more along... Again, the child soldiers aren't even the thing that exists in this universe due to the recruitment requirements of the Terran Federation. But if anything, it simply indicates the expanding of the war. Again, you moments previously, you were like, oh, the Terran Federation's military-industrial complex needs this to keep roaring. And yet their army is so small that when they enter into an actual conflict, they apparently need to massively increase their numbers of soldiers to wage the war on the multiple planets that they are fighting on.
Hundreds of thousands of human deaths for no reason.
Also, you are aware that hundreds of thousands of human deaths is fucking nothing in military terms, right? Again, in modern military terms, that's a lot. In human history or actual industrialized warfare, it ain't even a drop in the bucket, bro. Like, that is unironically a single offensive on the Western Front during the First World War.
The end scene with the brain bug is basically one massive cope by the Terran Federation.
No, No, it's... God help me. First and foremost, it is proof that the bugs are not merely insects, which was the incorrect assumption of the previous Sky Marshal. This is proof positive that the bugs are intelligent, and must thus be fought like an intelligent foe. Secondly, it is the first time that the Terran Federation actually has access to the ruling class of the bugs, because preceding to this, we didn't even know if they were intelligent, which is why they didn't do any sort of diplomacy with us. Now that we know they are intelligent, and they still have made absolutely no efforts whatsoever to communicate with us in any diplomacy at all, we know that this is a war of mutual extermination. Not because they can't understand us, but because they do not desire to understand us. And thus the capture of one of these creatures is the beginning of a long road of beginning to understand our enemy.
Director even added a nice little touch. When the bug starts jittering out of fear, the soldiers quickly back away from it. This is not a victory. You captured what is basically a single command and control vehicle at the end of your campaign that cost the lives of hundreds of thousands of soldiers. It's like when the other Federation, the Russian one, exhibits a captured Abrams on Red Square. Yeah, you got that one, congrats, but you also lost more than 18,000 pieces of heavy equipment in Ukraine. And it's just the visually confirmed losses, not to mention your casualties. Anyway, the Starship Troopers movie is very clear about it being a satire. The discourse that erupted around it, however, was truly mind-boggling. On one side, you had people with the reasonable take. Everything that happened to humans is basically their fault.
Hold on. Will Mennick, is that the same guy, or did you just steal your entire point from somebody else's Twitter post? Well, hold on. You have never watched this movie, have you? You've literally just gone on Twitter, seen somebody talk about it, and formed your entire understanding of this thing from a Twitter post. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised.
The war with the bugs was completely unnecessary, and the Terran Federation is a crazy, jingoistic fascist empire. I mean,
you're retarded and you're wrong.
The director put Neil Patrick Harris in a literal SS uniform.
Yes, that was Paul Verhoeven going, hey, I can't make the Terran Federation out to be particularly fascistic because they seem to have no problems with gender diversity, they don't seem to have any racial programs whatsoever, they seem to be, if anything, stridently libertarian in how they run their society, and the rights of the citizens appear to be so absolute that they can't even force them to conscript in war times when the entire fate of humanity is at stake. Fuck. How do I make them fascists? Stormcoats and grey clothing.
The message is very clear. Also, the brain bug scene is followed up by a propaganda video in which people gleefully tortured the brain bug, so there's that too. But
you know what, if I nitpick every fucking thing.
Some disagreed with this assessment. A lot of people legitimately did not understand how anyone could take the side of the bugs, empathize with the bugs even, when all the Terran Federation characters are attractive and the bugs are disgusting.
Partially true. I mean, it is a meme. Mom, the leftists are identifying with literal bugs again. And yes, that's kind of true. Yes, you have here a choice between the human federation that is obviously attacked by the bugs, a bug species that has done nothing to talk to humanity, that has acted with nothing but overt genocidal aggression from day one against the Federation that is barely even defending itself, and people are then wondering, how are you siding with the insects? And the leftist goes, actually, my outgroup preference is so fucking strong, I will literally side with the bugs over the humans. No matter if the bugs were in the wrong at every step of the way, no matter if the humans have done literally, actually, observably nothing wrong, I will still side with the bugs. It is genuinely a little bit difficult to understand, yes.
And I mean, that's the whole point. The way you instinctively feel about the bugs is how a white supremacist feels about blacks or how a Nazi feels about Jews.
Oh boy. Oh, okay. I said in my 40K is not satire video that no one is quite as racist as the leftists, and we're about to get that demonstrated to us yet again. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. Okay. Here we go.
Revolting freaks to be crushed under their boots. Not coincidentally, this is often how Jews were depicted by Nazi propaganda. Disgusting insects to be purged from the face of Earth. The movie essentially challenges...
Yeah, that's... I don't know how to explain this to you, buddy, but that's the point of propaganda. The point of propaganda is to make somebody who's just a human, just a person, into something lesser, into an insect, into a bug. It is to reduce them morally, societally, politically, on all these levels to something lesser, to remove human consideration from the picture. This is propaganda. These are lies. These are done for negative purposes. The bugs, however, they're not propaganda. The bugs are that. The arachnids are literally that. The arachnids have no empathy for human civilization. They have no care for us. They do not view us as an equivalent species. They do not view us as something to be left alive. Your example here is the arachnids. The arachnids are the ones who are viewing us as insects, as even when humanity didn't understand the bugs were sentient, when we thought they were simply just weird space monsters, what did we do? Did we launch a genocidal campaign against them? No, we created a quarantine zone around them and went, okay, no Terran Federation military sets foot within this zone because it's dangerous as hell. Our option was to contain and ignore them, to let them live their lives. The bugs' option was to exterminate us.
Challenges you to take the side of the group you were conditioned to hate. And oh boy, did many people fail this test. The discourse essentially became an indicator of who would fall for Nazi propaganda, where all the Aryan Germans are depicted as tall, strong and beautiful, and all the supposed subhumans as revolting freaks. With that, Starship Troopers gave us a very important revelation about...
That is kind of an interesting revelation, yes. The leftist has basically managed to turn this propaganda on its head. The leftist... No, Jesus, holy shit, that's a bit of a epiphany, isn't it? So that's why the leftist will sympathize with the bug. Because in the leftist mind, everything is far right. Everything is Nazis. Everything is the far right, okay? And so they see a movie where you have the pretty humans, who literally, again, within the universe, did nothing wrong, and they go, aha, well, I've seen those in propaganda posters. I've been conditioned to hate them. And so they do. Then they see the literal bugs waging a genocidal war on humanity and think, oh, hey, I've seen this in propaganda posters too, but they're actually the good guys. Media literacy, indeed.
The importance of aesthetics. If an otherwise horrible faction is depicted as badass and handsome in an IP, some people will start idolizing them and co-opt their visuals, no matter how monstrous the faction is or how much satire you heap on. And this brings us to Warhammer 40K. Let's consider...
That was one hell of a tortured and... Okay, no. We've already talked about how that makes absolutely no sense quite a few times now. Now, yes, if you make something cool, then it will indeed be cool. But what you are accusing the Federation of doesn't exist. Anyways, but we're finally to 40K, 9 minutes 30 seconds in.
Consider its opening paragraphs. It is the 41st millennium. For more than 100 centuries, the Emperor has sat immobile on the golden throne of Earth. He is the master of mankind by the will of the gods, and the master of a million worlds by the might of his inexhaustible armies. He is a rotting carcass, writhing invisibly with power from the dark age of technology. He is the carrion lord of the Imperium, for whom 1,000 souls are sacrificed every day so that he may never truly die. Vast armies give battle in his name on uncounted worlds. worlds. But for all their multitudes, they are barely enough to hold off the ever-present threat from aliens, heretics, mutants, and worse. To be a man in such times is to be one amongst untold billions. It is to live in the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable. These are the tales of those times. Forget the power of technology and science, for so much has been forgotten, never to be relearned. Forget the promise of progress and understanding, for in the grim dark future there is only war. There is no peace among the stars, only an eternity of carnage and slaughter, and the laughter of thirsting gods. The 40K universe is a rough place. It's basically war and suffering turned up to a ridiculous level, and it kinda works. Warhammer 40K.
Why are you taking YouTube footage for this? Did you not? Never mind.
Manages to straddle the line between epic and silly, nailing the perfect ratio of the two. And this works really well for the board game. You both bring out your armies you spent 200 plus hours painting, one of you fields Chaos Marines, the other Astra Militarum, and you duke it out in this silly but epic setting, having lots of fun in the process. This over-the-top horrifying universe is a great niche for tabletop games played by nerds, including yours truly. But what if you want to make a
I don't know if I believe that.
universally appealing
Service
AAA
guarantees
video game?
citizenship.
How do you implement this idea that everything in the grimdark future is horrible, the soldiers are brainwashed drones dying for nothing, and that the wars you fight are completely hopeless?
Wait, dying for nothing? They're dying to maintain humanity for another day. Life is not nothing. The continued existence of the species is not nothing. The ability for your wife and children to continue to live another day without being eaten by space bugs is not nothing. Are we going full nihilism here?
Heresy is the
And
question.
all of you are essentially
Fire is
doomed.
the answer.
How do you make an enjoyable AAA game around these ideas?
It's very easy. Like, literally, even if that's the case, the male power fantasy is literally the last stand. It wouldn't even be difficult. In fact, there's an entire scene basically fetishizing that at the end of the game, where you're standing on top of a little pile of rubble, firing a bolt pistol against charging hordes of Chaos cultists and monsters as you hold atop the standards of Ultramar, representing everything that is good and glorious in one final brilliant last stand.
Games Workshop thought long and hard and decided that they'll just kind of forget about most of the grimdark
Service
stuff.
guarantees
That is
citizenship.
actually true, yes. 40K has moved way too far away from their grimdark roots. They really have.
The Space Marine games, while containing hints of the absurdity of the Imperium, are for the most part made to make the player feel like a cool, epic, badass war hero soldier mowing down thousands of enemies without breaking a sweat. And with that, Games Workshop has made the biggest mistake possible when it comes to depicting fascists.
But they're not fascists. That's the problem. They're not fascist. And that is also the reality. That's the thing. If humanity is outnumbered 5 trillion to 1, which pretty much they are, then Space Marines will actually be carving through thousands of enemies. This doesn't necessarily actually compromise any part of the setting, but we're getting too deep into it.
They made them appear cool and badass. And yes, Space Marines are fascists. They're turbo space Nazis who will turn you into minced meat if you say something they deem heretical. Atrocities, purges, and genocides are just par for the course for them.
But does that make them fascist? Is that the definition of fascism?
Your service to the Imperium means mowing down 10,000 civilians because there might be heretics among them, so be it. You're murdering women and children without any second thought or remorse because you are a mindless drone bred for combat, and that's just what it's like to live under the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable.
But is that fascism?
If you doubt me, I invite you to check out the episode in The Garden of Ghosts from the Hammer and Bolter series,
No, thank you. I'm not an enormous cringe-ass tourist, so I don't watch Warhammer Plus.
where we are treated to a scene of a purged Forge world. No, wait, that's the Adeptus Mechanicus thing, alright. Craft World. That's a giant space habitat, basically, where the Eldari, the space elves, live. Home to millions at minimum. Well, the noble Ultramarines massacred the entire Forge world, murdering untold thousands of men, women, and children. Because they
Heresy is the
Untold
question.
thousands of
Fire is the answer.
Xenos. Men, women, and children.
were Xenos, therefore degenerate, therefore worthy of death. Shout out.
No, worthy of death because they are evil. Straight up. From
Heresy's
humanity's
the
point of
question.
view,
Fire
the
is the
Eldar
answer.
are evil. The Eldar do not view humanity as worthy of moral consideration. It is the old Eldar saying, better 1 million humans die than see a single Eldar soul lost. That is the Eldar view on humanity. If your definition of fascist is willing to commit genocide, then hello, the vast majority of human history, including the Mongols, the Russians, the Japanese, the Chinese, the Germans, the Barbers, the Romans, the Brits. I could go on. But that would count doubly so for the Eldar. The Eldar were once the masters of the galaxy, created as a literal tool of genocide against the Necrontyr by the Old Ones. They had driven practically every other species to the brink of annihilation, or kept in or planet-sized zoos for their entertainment. Even today, the Eldar will not hesitate for a second to wipe out entire human population centers, because this might change fate in such a way that is advantageous to the Eldar. The Eldar are not innocent women and children. They're an entire species of incredibly selfish creatures that brought about the birth of a chaos god. The Eldar have done more damage to the galaxy than the entirety of the human species, okay? That's the thing. You can't simply go like, oh, that Space Marine, he's shooting a female-looking thing. A female-looking thing is probably a howling banshee. God, you forget all of the context. You simply look at humans doing a thing and go, well, you know, within the modern-day context of my understanding of the current year, this looks pretty bad. Therefore, they must be fascists. Oh, also, hello, Israel and Palestine as well to that previous list, I guess.
Shout out to Purity Seal for this lore tip, by the way. You can find his channel under @thepurityseal. In popular first-person shooters, however, such things cannot be depicted because your game would be banned worldwide.
Whilst showing the airport shooting scene from Call of Duty, which I'm fairly sure wasn't banned worldwide. What? 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 Hold on a second. Okay, what's the logic of this argument?
A Warhammer 40K shooter game true to the lore would be a war crime simulator.
Remember, no.
I think it already is?
And it would just be weird playing as a psychotic, murderous maniac committing crimes against humanity for 8 hours without any self-awareness or remorse. Actually, that sounds like super fun and— wait, I'm sorry, this video is for people 13 and above. Who let these children in here? But I love playing as an unrepentant murderous psycho. Yeah, try playing Mass Effect as a renegade. Don't believe me? Apparently, according to Mass Effect player stats, 9—
That's what plays with Paragon. Really? I don't know if I believe that. Really? I don't know if I believe that. Really? Let's see. Oh yeah, there's an article from 2020 saying this. On Paragon. Really? Huh. Interesting.
92% of players played as Paragon and only 8% as Renegade. Most people just don't want to be an asshole, not even in video games. But
I don't know about that. Seeing as Riot has started banning people from things they say on live streams, not even in-game, because there's too much toxicity in the game, I don't know if I buy that.
even if a Warhammer shooter was true to form and the player was made to feel like a disposable cog in a purposeless murder machine tasked with the occasional genocide, there are people who would love that and would absolutely play that game. I get that. But if you're making a game, you want to appeal to the widest audience possible, not just to people on terror watch lists. And
You mean like Space Marine 2? With the 2 million sold?
Space Marine 2, the latest Warhammer 40K game, ended up doing the former, choosing appeal over what I would call honesty about its universe. You're not a mindless, psychotic drone killing in the name of a doomed fascist empire, but a noble, heroic warrior protecting your home from freaks and degenerates.
This is a very intriguing interpretation of Space Marine 2. You're fighting as Tyranids and chaos, real threats within the 41st millennium.
Service guarantees citizenship.
I'm struggling to follow his logic here, I must admit. I guess it's because he bases his entire interpretation of Warhammer 40,000 on it being a doomed fascist empire, and therefore it would be the superior choice to roll over and let yourself be eaten, I guess? It's like, you know you're fighting for a bad cause, right? Why don't you just die? But it's not a bad cause. It's the continued survival of the human species as you know it. And again, not fascist.
The overt satire is basically gone because it had to be. There are allusions to the Imperium being bad, but not nearly overt enough. A Warhammer 40K true to form would be like a version of Modern Warfare where every second mission is no Russian, only even more bloody and deranged. But if anyone released a game like that, most countries wouldn't even let them publish it.
But that's not true, though. You're talking as if mass purges of entire population centers is something that just happens on a weekly basis in the 41st millennium, which probably on the galaxy scale it does, but that's not every other mission. Like, these are rarities. The Inquisition carries out the Inquisition has the power to carry out exterminatus, because it is viewed as the ultimate sanction. It is something to be done only in absolute extremes. Even mass purges are very rare. There are countless examples of worlds having massive mutant populations that are simply just kind of tolerated because they don't want to kill all of them, or they can't be bothered to. Like, the Eldar, for example. The Imperium, even to this day, despite knowing how dangerous the Eldar are, continue to try to carry out diplomatic overtures towards them. There are even craft worlds with Imperial embassies on them. The Imperium is in talks with the Tau right now. The overdone stereotype of the Imperium is just evil to be evil is simply false. It is not reflective of reality.
Keep in mind, by the way, that I do like Space Marine 2, and I do think it's a good game. Just before anyone will start yelling at me how the game isn't bad, actually. I agree, it's a good game, it's cool and epic, and I like it. But there are overarching issues with it, which we're currently discussing. Now, the reason why the Warhammer 40K books and tabletop games are allowed to get away with containing atrocities, while video games aren't, is
Double Eagle, no atrocities in that. Horus Rising, I mean, kind of atrocity, but more like war on war. Fulgrim, some butt sex in that one. For the Emperor, Soul Hunter, Typhus Cain, Ravener Xenos, Betrayer, Hell's Reach. Hell's Reach? I don't think Hell's Reach contains that many atrocities. I mean, what, the Marines Malevolent bombing that refugee camp? I mean, yeah, because it was being overrun by orcs at the time.
Because in the game, you would get to act out said atrocities. At the very least, we would get vivid depictions of them. You don't just read about, say, Space Marines murdering 10,000 women and children, or you don't just play with
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
You don't read about Space Marines murdering 10,000 of women and children. That doesn't really happen all that often. Can I think of a single instance where Space Marines were just randomly purging Imperial citizens for no particular reason? I've read a lot of 40k lore over my years. The closest I come is honestly the Marines Malevolent bombing the civilian, the refugee station during the War for Armageddon. 30k, I guess? Where the traitor legions did it, I suppose? I guess? Even then, it wasn't really so much genocidal as simply war that took place in cities rather than the wholesale exterminations of populations. There were cases of exterminatus, of course, but, I cannot think of a single example I've read of Space Marines just willy-nilly murdering civvies for shits and giggles. Monarchia? No, they evacuated the population of Monarchia. Remember, the Ultramarines arrived like weeks or months early specifically to evacuate the population of Monarchia, specifically because they didn't want to arbitrarily mass murder civilian populations. Lorgar? I mean, yeah, but that's Chaos. That's not Space Marines. I mean, to clarify, I will draw a dividing line there between, you know, the fucking Wordbearers and the Space Marines. I classify those as Chaos Space Marines. Blood Angels and dissipating random civilians? Yes, sort of, but even then, they're not carrying out genocidal campaigns for sish and giggles. It's that occasionally they lose control over themselves with the red thirst. Like, that's not really what we're talking about here. Didn't the Badab War have that? Sort of, but even then, not really. Let's see here. Let's go. The Badab War had... I've got an art piece for this, actually. Badab, there we go. I've got an art piece of this one, which I'm looking for right now. There was the Astral Claws did it, but again... I suppose you could somewhat argue with the Astral Claws, but that's kind of the closest. Pseudo Space Marine chapter, somewhat heretical at the time, and certainly in serious violation of the Codex Astartes, but kind of. And when the Space Marines, the good guys, the Imperium, re-invaded worlds, they actually carried out full-on procedures to scan the entire population of the worlds that had been occupied by the Astral Claws. Specifically to go like, okay, which one of you is normal? Which one of you is corrupted? They still didn't carry out willy-nilly mass exterminations. Because here's the thing. Exterminating an entire population center is actually entirely justifiable in the 41st millennium. This is why the entire population of Armageddon was, for example, evacuated and then repurposed to labor camps and basically tortured to death after the first war for Armageddon, because the entire population had been exposed to the influence of a Chaos Primarch. Yeah, the Inquisition do not take chances with that. See, that's the thing. A chaos cult in the 41st millennium isn't merely just a group of wrong thinkers at the bottom of a hive or something, not really that big of a threat to anyone. A chaos cult is something that can open a portal to hell its motherfucking self and cause deaths on a civilizational scale. The wipeout of entire planetary populations. That is how dangerous chaos is. If you do not nip it in the bud, it will always grow. If you do not execute one civilian, it will infect a city. If you do not exterminate the city, it will affect a continent. If you do not exterminate the continent, it will infect the planet, and so on. Chaos always grows because that is in the very nature of chaos, to ever seek out greater sources of sustenance for itself. But yeah, like... the cases of Space Marines just willy-nilly killing people are pretty damn rare, few and far between. That is an exception to the rule, an extreme act, rather than, as this guy is portraying it, something they just do for fun every Tuesday.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Anyways, let me get through... Oh, that's the anime charts. I don't need that. Oh, no. No, I don't know where I was. There we are. Close enough for government work. Let me go through a few more Superchats.
Guarantees citizenship.
Right, where was I? Where was I indeed? Oh, there we go. Corporate here. In the book, bugs had mechanical spaceships. They did. The bugs in the books, mind you, were very, 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 very different. They were less arachnid and more spiders as well. And they even had an alliance with the skinnies for a while. Where's next anyone? Ariel, insert epic Jesus facepalm here. My face. The Starship Trooper part has so far been the worst. The Starship Trooper part was terrible. Really, really terrible. At least he based everything off that, so the 40k part has been going a pinch more smoothly. John Jim, he's actually begging the audience to delete him. Mean. The Eccentric Ripper, we are beating Sargon by 600. ArchCast chat strong. Oh, yeah, chat strong. 2,367 now. Jesus. Awesome. You guys are doing very, very well. Let's get to 3,400, then 500, and just keep going. Spread the word. We must gatekeep, chat. Gatekeep now, or be gatekept. John Jim becomes a member, thank you very much. Warbles Doom, I am the one who cheeky breekies. On a side note, Verhoeven is a hack who thought he was hot shit after RoboCop. Yeah, largely. I mean, he did some really good stuff. He did, but he didn't understand the subject matter at all with Starship Troopers, and it was a goddamn miracle that the movie came out as well as it did, largely due to the assistant who wrote the thing rather than the director. I mean, the director's only real input was like, I require a nude scene with all of my beautiful actors in the nude. And he got it, too. And he apparently filmed that naked with them. Hold on, can I find that? Paul... There we go, yes. Yes, there you go. Yep, I knew I'd heard this. So Verhoeven really wanted the naked shower scene, and the cast were like,
citizenship.
I don't know about that, Paul. And so he was like, listen, I will strip too. Tears open shirt. Hey, he got them naked in the end, so there you go. The power of nudity. That was probably Paul Verhoeven's greatest contribution to the story overall. Every few seconds, an assistant had to reach over and tip up his camera as he was tilting down toward Johnny Rico's junk again, Paul Verhoeven behind it, breathing heavily in Dutch. Reverend Norse, why are you and Sargon streaming the same thing at the same time? Would have loved to hear you both rip it apart together, because Sargon is a selfish little child. That's why. He's a meanie. He's a grumpy puss. That's why. I offered him. He was like, hey, Arch, check out this video. I was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to do a thing on that. Would you like to join me? And Sargon's like, no, I am a Sargon. That's what happened. Yep, that's absolutely what happened. I'm not embellishing facts or anything here. That's what happened. Dizwiz, my god, I thought leftards were joking when Bugs did nothing wrong next, but this is just delete me. We need to make that into a meme, the just delete me meme. And no, unironically, that is it though. You have here a leftist actually identifying with the bugs based purely on visuals alone, coming up with cope ways of excusing the bugs' actions to justify siding with them. It's remarkable. Alex Alexander, those three mutants sure seem to like the Nids. They do indeed. Not a banned account, fascist, sexist, racist, propaganda elected Trump. Archigidor, does that mean game developers and the unattractive women is a sign of disgust? Who knows? Insane Linguist, let me guess. He took the literal device that is the preamble and took it at face value. Yes, far too many people do that. They look at the beginning of Starship Troopers, which is very clearly signaled as, you know, further in the movie, what with the invasion of Klendathu being like one of the first scenes, and go, oh, the bugs, the humans could totally defend themselves against a meteor. Hey. Medic Mark, well, too bad. It's a numbers game and they have more. Yes. Insane Linguist, I'm convinced he's using the far left definition of fascism equals not communist. Gundam Chief, bit off subject, there's a video game, Brigador, think Battletech. It focused on the speed plus brutality of conflict. Made 18 minis so far, novel, and might be making a tabletop war game. Gatekeep tourist before discovery. Yes, it's the only way. James Kuhn, wait, is that why the leftists in games, movies, comics, etc. make everyone ugly? Is because the far right made beauty into a propaganda and today's left tries to fix that? Mind blown indeed. That is definitely part of it. They have now conditioned themselves to view beauty as something bad. They're literally the people who have bought the most into the fascist propaganda, I guess. All Nazis
Serve a
are
guaranteed
beautiful.
citizenship.
And God damn it. All Nazis are beautiful, and I am going to oppose beauty because it's Nazi.
Service guaranteed
Okay, my dude.
citizenship.
I am unwilling to cede that particular ground, but you do you. Prodigal Son, is he going to bring up Vulcan now for the memes? Not yet. I mean, he hasn't even complained about the Space Marines yet, except the whole genocidal thing, but... Hexy, enjoying the new ArchCast with no gay communists. There are no gay communists right now, that's true. Ben Gorgon, Mr. Video 40K is a crime for humanity, sim fixed. SGTD4C, by that logic, what about that time the Eldar, instead of killing Gazgul when he was weaker, they rerouted him to Imperial worlds, which would have prevented the many wars he had led, killing billions. Again, like I said, yeah, no, absolutely. The Eldar are not innocent. The Eldar are the racial supremacists in the 40K universe. They are the ones like, rather 1,000 others die than a single Eldar. But again, the leftists look at the humans and go, humans must always be bad, therefore genocidal space aliens, good. Media literacy indeed. Medic Mark, this is the same people that argue that the demons in Trench Crusade are the good guys. Oh, do not fucking remind me. There was entire screes on the Trench Crusade Reddit where it's like, actually, the universe in which literally Satan and his demon hordes are real and invading Earth, it's a dig at humanity and Christianity. This is not a pro-Christian setting. I know God and the humans and all that's the only thing protecting us from becoming demon sex toys, but it's actually a negative thing, you see. If an invasion, by actual, literal, unironic, overt hell, is still not enough to justify Christianity, you cannot reason someone out of a position that they have not reasoned themselves into, I guess is my only reply to that. Most next in one, Ariel, epic Jesus fame poem, and multiplied by 10. It is so a fundamentally insane position that there is simply no argument to be levied against it. Prodigal Son, is he ignoring any battles against Nids? Oh, of course. Lurker, Lord Sargon is doing this video too. Of course he is, that fat little bastard. Where's the next one? Ariel, to this guy, the continued human existence is faster. No, I'm not kidding. I am getting that level of vibe off him and his mental state. You know, I suppose it's working out better and better that he did an ad for a company called Delete Me. It's like humanity is struggling to stay alive in a hostile universe. Why? When they could use my promo code to hashtag delete themselves for 20% off. Yo, we need to make... That needs to be a meme. That needs to be a meme. Delete me. We have to find a way to weaponize this. It's too good. Sandu, the space sharks doing their red tithe. Well, yeah, but even that's not... Well, I mean, it's sort of genocidal, as they're taking people and throwing them in an arena together and recruiting the best, but... Again, it's sort of, kind of, pseudo, but not really. Reverend Norse, didn't the Carcharodons genocide a bit during Badab? A bit. And even then, you know, you could make an argument that the Astral Claws had it coming. Sandum, the Sons of Medusa, encircling that one hive city, putting under siege and killing everyone that tried to surrender or flee. Ah, that's actually a better example. Or did they kill everyone that tried to surrender or flee? But that was also during the War for Badab, with a lot of Tyrant's Guard in there too, so sort of kind of pseudo. Space Wolf Blackmane, Arch. This hobby is cooked. First is tourists, next going to be annoying snobs, people who should have been gatekept, but think they are somehow special, just because they prefer Grim Derp Deathclaw. I do hate the Grim Derp Deathclaw too. God King Jump, Arch. Are your Horus Heresy videos backed up somewhere? Deathclaw. Somewhere, yes, I think they're... Are they in Rumble? Wait, aren't they still on the main channel? I thought they still were on the main channel, I thought. Sandum, add my donations to Deathclaw, which is 14 in total. But why? Most next one. Ariel, cartoon shows spaceships that the bugs used. Well, obviously, they must have some way to travel across the stars, otherwise they wouldn't own multiple worlds. Furincars, I don't think his point is Marines always portray our flaws heroes, not true. Also, a reminder, Monarchia, Calth was merely an act of self-defense. No, Monarchia was nice. Monarchia was a lesson with a relative minimum of human casualties. So, like, yeah, Starship Troopers was written 60 years ago. I doubt many people had an understanding of how big the galaxy is. Even today, most people don't get it. Endgame is an example of a movie that got it wrong. Oh yeah, absolutely. Simple authorial ignorance. Calariel, Streamlabs, tanks are sentient and telepathic. This guy. Calariel again, there's only war text being read by his soy lips ass hurt my soul in a ways that makes the Neshi wet. My God. All right. Anyways, we're getting through it. We've only got like 10 minutes left.
At least a game like that, most countries wouldn't even let them publish it. Keep in mind, by the way, that I do like Space Marine 2, and I do think it's a good game. Just before anyone would start yelling at me how the game isn't bad, actually. I agree, it's a good game. It's cool and epic, and I like it. But there are overarching issues with it, which we're currently discussing. Now, the reason why the Warhammer 40K books and tabletop games are allowed to get away with containing atrocities while video games aren't is because in the game you would get to act out said atrocities. At the very least, we would get vivid depictions of them. You don't just read about, say, Space Marines murdering 10,000 women and children, or you don't just play with miniatures of a Space Marine faction, which according to the lore once murdered 10,000 women and children. Nope, this is an
Actually, we do kind of get a vivid view of it, though, because during Space Marine 2, they're invading a hive city. The Tyranids, the people you identify with, are literally murdering billions in front of us, and we're the only ones trying to stop it. And yet your argument appears to be, well, it's all pointless anyway. We're all going to die. We live in a fascist dictatorial empire. Why don't we just delete ourselves?
Interactive video game where you are a Space Marine and congratulations, your next mission is to purge a civilian slum of 10,000 where the presence of heretics is suspected.
Did you take a picture of a Space Marine and turn his head around so that his front is... You see this too, chat. I'm not blind, am I? This is obviously the front. Like, this is the front chest piece. This is not the back piece of a Space Marine, because that's where their power pack is. And his head is just, like, snapped around, as is his elbows. What?
Here's your chainsaw and plasma incinerator, good luck. And then you get dropped onto the map with a counter appearing on your screen standing at 0 out of 10,000. Nobody would want to play that game, and those who even bother to try wouldn't have fun playing it if the game was even legal to distribute, even though such a game would fit perfectly into the Warhammer 40K universe.
But one, as we already have said, no. And almost likely, those 10,000 people would be running screaming towards you with a variety of crude things, like simple snub-nosed pistols or pipes, and trying to kill you while screaming blood for the blood god. As, generally speaking, if the Space Marines are sent in to purge a portion of a hive, it's because the locals have gotten very, very, very spiky and very, very rowdy. Again, the Imperium doesn't randomly purge its own population for no fucking reasons.
Such is life under the cruelest and most bloody regime imaginable in the grimdark future. And that's just what they often do to fellow humans. Sentient, non-human civilians, even if not hostile, usually just get instantly murdered or worked to death as slaves. So Games Workshop had to take a different approach with their AAA game. For the sake of broad appeal, they had to gracefully sideline the unspeakable evil and cruelty of the Imperium. You're not committing atrocities, genocides, and other war crimes. Instead, you're fighting an endless horde of Tyranids, insectoid space alien predators, which threaten to overwhelm everything. In contrast to the bugs in the Starship Troopers movie, Tyranids are not the victims of aggression. Their singular goal is to devour absolutely everything.
You're wrong. And retarded.
force of nature, basically, and there is nothing morally wrong with killing them. The other enemy faction appearing in Space Marine 2 are the Forces of Chaos, who are just evil. Once again, nothing wrong with killing them. So your character, Titus of the Ultramarines, is doing the good thing, really. He's a protagonist. He's also a brainwashed space Nazi psychopath, prepared to commit even the most heinous atrocities without a hint of doubt, should his masters commend him. But
are you ever going to actually define what you think a space Nazi is? What a fascist is? Or are we simply just going to continue to use this word as the pejorative it has become? I suspect the latter.
Let's not portray that, because that would be a downer for the average player. Therefore, in Space Marine 2, Titus is mostly portrayed as a selfless war hero instead. And I know that...
But here's the problem, though. Okay, you're fighting Tyranids, nothing wrong with killing them. You're fighting Chaos, nothing wrong with killing them. And here's Titus fighting things that is nothing wrong with killing, and you're going, he is portrayed as a selfless war hero. Because he is? Like, even by your own definition, he is a selfless war hero in this scenario. And your argument is, yeah, but he could be killing civilians. I suppose, but he's not. Has he? Has Titus led any mass purges of civilians that you are aware of? Like, the entire crux of the argument here appears to be, oh, I don't like 40K. I don't like the Imperium. They need to be shown as the bad guys. Yeah, but they're not the bad guys in this setting, though. Like, they obviously are not. Yeah, but they should be. Yeah, but they're not, though. Yeah, but impotent screeching in the darkness?
There is a bit more nuance to the story and the character, especially in light of the previous game, but that unfortunately doesn't matter. That's stuff for lore wonks, not your average player who might not even have played the previous game. The nuance is lost on them, and because of this, due to the satire taking a backseat, we have lunatic space Nazis made to look like heroes, tirelessly fighting against a tidal wave of freaks that threaten to destroy their glorious civilization, which is...
Let me guess. Which is exactly what the far right thinks that is happening right now.
It's exactly how, say, white nationalists think of themselves, isn't it? The brave...
I was pretty close. I was pretty close. I was in the ballpark, shall we say. I'll give myself a point for that one.
Champions protecting white civilization from an onslaught of swarthy subhumans who will destroy all...
Swarthy subhumans. Elon Musk, the world's richest South African. Oh, fuck me. Oh, yeah. Whew. Whew.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. Please, Mr. Wise Supremacist, protect me from the swarthy subhuman Elon Musk. Oh boy. And I like the title too here. So January 5th, 2024. Oh, we got here. All right. See you later here.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer. Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Right, there we go. Yeah, so the myth, the Great Replacement's conspiracy theory. Yep. The Great Replacement conspiracy theory. You know, it's not happening, guys. It's not happening. The media has told me. It ain't happening. Yep, no. It's not occurring. It's not real. Come on, guys. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. You gotta stop repeating this conspiracy theory. What's wrong with you? Stop it now. Cease. Stop repeating this lie.
Heresy is the question. Fire is the answer.
You must stop. There is no evidence for this. There's no basis. It simply isn't real, guys. Come on. Come on. I'm just... God, I am literally just... I just opened Google.
Service guarantee.
Just Google it, and there are just an avalanche. Literally countless articles on this. From the mainstream media admitting to it. Like, come on, my dude. Just because you call it a conspiracy doesn't mean it's not real. It doesn't mean that the entirety of the mainstream media hasn't been singing from this hymn sheet now for the last 20 goddamn years. Simply calling something a conspiracy theory does, I'm afraid, not debunk it. That's tragic, but unfortunately our swarthy African American here is probably on the right side of history with this one.
They've built. And since the video games have an overwhelming cultural influence compared to the books or the tabletop, the game's portrayal of Warhammer 40K becomes dominant in popular culture. Sort of like how the average person thinks of Superman as an unfeeling alien god. That's because
Heresy is the question.
Do they?
Fire is the answer.
Do they? Our entertainment has failed.
those god-awful Snyder movies depicted him as such. Meanwhile, in the comics, he's this cool and friendly guy. I believe Cosmonaut Variety Hour put it best, and I'm paraphrasing, in the movies, Clark Kent is the mask worn by Superman, but in reality, Superman is the mask worn by Clark Kent. But
Hey, you know what? I actually agree with that. That's the first good point so far. And he stole it from another video. Is this guy just dumb? Chat, is this guy just stupid? Is that why what this is? Is this actually just honest to God low IQ? Is that what's happening here? Every point he's made so far appears to have been sourced from somebody else. Is he just a dum-dum?
due to the movie's overwhelming cultural influence over the comics, movie Superman becomes the cultural standard. Same with Warhammer 40K. The ultra-popular games will be the ones dictating the IP's public perception, not the niche books or the tabletop game. Unsurprisingly, the far-right began co-opting Warhammer 40K already a few years ago, God Emperor Trump being the most obvious example. Also God Emperor Putin, go figure. Now, far-right fans of Warhammer don't actually play the tabletop game, so you won't be meeting them in real life.
I currently have no less than 4 Warhammer 40,000 books on my desk.
Fire is the answer.
At the moment, within arm's reach of me. And of course, the Sabbath World's sourcebook, obviously.
Heresy's the question.
Why? Because I am currently doing a 40-part lore series on the Sabbath Crusade on my 250,000 subscribers Warhammer lore channel.
Service guarantees citizenship.
But I am not sufficiently dedicated to 40k. I am one of those people who don't really play it or care about it. I am one of those fake fans co-opting Warhammer 40k, I'm sure. By this guy's definition, apparently. Oh, and hey, he brought up the sole singular example of something, well, at least somewhat Nazi that has occurred in 40k the last 50, 60 odd years or something. The obvious troll guy who joined a convention calling himself the Austrian painter. It's like, On the one hand, the guy's like, 40K satire, despite not satirizing or critiquing anything, and yet the Austrian painter he looks at like, that guy's a neo-Nazi sympathizer. Anyway.
Online though, Warhammer 40K communities are often literal cancer, with people unironically parroting the fascist propaganda of the Imperium. Burn the heretics, kill the mutants, purge the unclean.
Oh hey, the golden one! Hello.
It is better to die for the Emperor rather than to live for yourself. An open mind is like a fortress with its gates unbarred and unguarded. Kill lots of Xenos and got coin. For the Emperor. Here's this image depicting an Imperium guardsman blowing himself up with an Eldari, basically a space elf, titled The Emperor Protects. With one...
Yes. Like, the guardsman is lying there, bleeding out, whilst the aggressive, violent Xenos, who probably finished recently chopping his hands off, stands over him, mocking him. Give up, monkey. You, monkey, the racial slur. You lost, and there is no emperor to save you. And why do you persist in smiling? Because, Xeno, the emperor has already saved me. Chink. Who's going to save you? Boom.
1.9 thousand likes.
That deserves a lot more than 3,000 likes. That deserves all the likes.
Fire is the
Soldier
answer.
is glad to die for the Emperor and believes that he saved him by letting him die in war. He's been brainwashed that hard. And the comments next to the image are of a similar vein. Approved. When I'm gone, I'll meet the God Emperor, but you, Xeno scum, the only God you'll meet is the Dark God, or whatever that is. Cadia stands for Cadia. Cadia is a fortress world most famous for doing the opposite of standing by. That is, Cadia stands for Cadia. Cadia is a fortress world most famous for doing the opposite of standing, by the way. There are also
no further comment. I think that statement buries itself adequately hard without me needing to add to it.
common image replies, most of which call for murdering someone, usually the post-author, or non-humans in general, called Xenos. Not just the evil, aggressive ones. No, literally everyone, including sentient Xenos and their civilians, who would be otherwise neutral or even friendly.
No, again, that's the thing. There is no such thing as a neutral or friendly heretic. There is no such thing as a neutral or friendly Xenos. It is because this is a horrible, brutal galaxy, where everyone is waging their own war for survival. The Eldar are attempting to survive at the expense of everyone else. Humanity is trying to survive at the expense of everyone else. The Tyranids are attempting to survive at the expense of everyone else. Add this in, and then add on literally every single solitary faction. That's what's happening. There is no coexistence here. There is no peace amongst the stars. There cannot be any understanding with those who can only live by murdering you. There is no delineation of borders here that will satisfy everyone. This is the Palestine-Israel question on an even larger basis, where there is no peaceful solution. There is no end to this conflict that does not include one party decimating the other. Because their goals, their intents, their aims are so alien to one another, so how do I put it? So diametrically opposed that there can be no compromise. This is the left-wing meme of the black people holding up the plasters going like, we don't want to die. And the KKK going, we just want to lynch black people. That's the situation you're in here. There is no, in the middle of going like, maybe you could just kill half the black people?
Just kill them all. I've also seen plenty of Warhammer memes about interracial cuckoldry, which is something far-right people online are...
Very well.
Absolutely obsessed with. Don't look it up, trust me. Now, let's stop here for a moment. Am I not taking this
Heresy's
a bit
the
too
question.
seriously, pointing
Fire
at
is the
obvious memes
answer.
and jokes below posts and pretending they're serious?
No, because you're a left-winger. You literally are incapable of understanding humor, so I entirely understand that you take this seriously. And I'm sure that you're about to justify that to me by some contrived notion of that, yeah, you know, if you were looking at this, nicely, you could say it's a joke, but actually, the intent of the guy behind it is always racist, yeah.
I do realize these memes and replies are jokes, but often they also aren't. Now, hold on, what the hell do I mean by that? How can one thing be two opposite things at the same time?
Oh, that's pretty simple. It's called left-wing doublethink. I've seen enough examples of it. It is very easy for left-wing to say A is B and 2 is 1. It's quite common.
I personally call such memes and jokes Schrödinger's shitpost. They are both a joke and not a joke at the same time. The meme exists in an ideological superposition until someone engages with it. So suppose someone posts a far-right adjacent meme like this, the Kekistani flag, which is a recolored Nazi Wehrmacht flag, also commonly wielded by neo-Nazi protesters. But here, it's just an edgy joke, you see. Or is it? If the response is negative, say if someone replies with, dude, what the fuck is this? Then, oh, it's just a joke, it's just a meme, lamau, don't take it seriously. But if the response is positive, like, my fellow red-pilled Kekistani brother whom the eco science elites couldn't brainwash, then often the meme is suddenly not a joke. Ha, I know, right? Oy vey. And it's not like the person who posted the Kekistani flag is pretending either way. This is the
But what does that have to do with fascism? What does that have to do with fascism? Yes, no, the Kekistani flag is a reaction to being called Nazis. And so the people who were being called Nazis, facetiously and falsely accused of it in order to try and ruin their lives, went, okay, let's parody that then. Let's make a satire of it. We are going to raise this banner up as an example of how you cannot understand that even if we paint our symbols on it, even if we make it different colors, if you simply see a resemblance, it must be the same thing. They're mocking you with this. Did that fly over your head, I guess?
The funny part. Such people legitimately don't know what their intent is with the meme
Service
they post.
guarantees
Is it just an edgy
citizenship.
joke or is it serious? It depends on the meme's public reception. Of course, not all Warhammer memes
What now?
know what their intent is with the meme they either way. This is the funny part. Such people legitimately don't know what
Heresy's
their
the
intent is
question.
with the meme
Fire
they
is the
post. Is it
answer.
just an edgy joke or is it serious? It depends on the meme's public reception. Of
Okay, so let me get this straight. The person posting the meme does not understand the meaning of the meme. He has no idea. He has no context. He has no idea what he's posting. If people go,
Service guarantees
hey, you know,
citizenship.
that's like far right or something, then he goes, oh yeah, it totally is, but it's meant to be ironic. Okay? And if somebody goes, oh hey, yeah, I'm a far righter too, he goes, oh yeah, me too. What? And he has no idea about this position. He doesn't understand it. You know that's not how this works, right? I mean, surely you must understand that people aren't simply just blanks like that react entirely based upon the feedback of others. The person who posts this usually is a human being with thoughts. They usually have a motivation for posting it. And hey, there might even be that there are examples in which somebody is using this as a sonar ping, in essence, where they move into a new space and they post a thing to go like, okay, what's the reception to this? What kind of people are around here? But to then think that this forms the person who posts its opinions depending
Service
upon the
guarantees
reception... What? This makes actually no sense.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Unless, I guess, you're arguing that the person posting it doesn't actually have any beliefs, that he has no genuinely held beliefs, and he simply
Service guaranteed
conforms
citizenship.
himself to whatever appears to be the prevalent position at the time. I guess. Even then, that doesn't make any sense, though. It's like, oh, hey, I'm looking for a new political opinion to have. Google's meme finds one, posted somewhere, and go like, oh, yeah, I agree with you, next guy who posts.
Service
This makes no
guaranteed
sense.
citizenship.
This makes no sense whatsoever. Moving on.
Of course, not all Warhammer memes are like that, but quite a few of them are. I can tell you a percentage
Heresy's
here.
the
So far,
question.
I could only
Fire
determine
is
that
the
a
answer.
non-trivial number of them exist, and that such Schrodinger's shitposts are part of the far-right infiltration and co-opting of Warhammer 40K. It
The far-right infiltration and co-opting of 40K. I don't know how to break this to you, but I think what you would define as the far-right were not only here to begin with, they formed the foundation of the entire hobby. They were the geeks and the dudes who were in there to begin with, the people who weren't affected by what you call the super media, the influential stuff. They were the ones who were reading the books, who were playing the video game, who owned the goddamn codexes, like my torn to pieces 2nd edition Skaven Warhammer Fantasy book, for example. If those are the right-wingers, then they've always been there, which means, by definition, if anybody is infiltrating and co-opting 40K, it's the left wing. Because Warhammer 40K is a right-wing setting. It is a right-wing universe on its very fundament. There is practically nothing left-wing about 40K whatsoever. It is a universe that actively rejects the promise of progress. It is a universe in which the care foundation is practically non-existent. I've made an entire video on this. 40K is right-wing on a fundamental, basic, and inescapable level. The left-wing portions of it are so minuscule and so highly faction-specific, as in only for our own faction, as to be virtually completely ignorable. And this also then comes to the left-wing interpretation of satire, which, luckily, I just did a video on as well, explaining why 40K is not satire. See, this is the left-wing cope. They go in and they go, well, this entire setting is right-wing. Every part of it is right-wing. There is none of it that is explicitly, overtly, or even subtly left-wing. How then can I cope with that? Well, it's satire. That's what it is. It's actually making fun of it. But the point of satire is to satirize something. It is to criticize something. 40K does not criticize the right. In fact, it instead provides a convincing argument for the right in the scenario of 40K, in which being anything but right-wing is being dead. You are authoritarian, you are militaristic, or you are dinner. Those are your options, pure and simple. There is no conversing with the Tyranids. There is no coexisting with chaos. There is no compromising with the Eldar. Like, listen, Eldar, how about you don't send Gaskull Magurk our way? Yeah, but if we do that, you know, he's going to inconvenience one of our homeworlds in the future. We don't like that. Or craft worlds, more correctly. So, no, we're going to have to kill billions of your people. I'm sorry. Well, there you go, I guess. And that's the thing. It's not satire, but it is the way the left wing can cope with themselves. To go, oh, this is actually my thing, whilst closing their eyes, holding their hands over their ears, and simply going la 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 for a very long time.
provides a nice little gray zone where you can keep dog whistling or posting what are essentially Nazi memes, only it's Warhammer 40k, so normies will think nothing of it. Far-right infiltration of 40k is such a recurring problem that Games Workshop had to issue multiple statements already stating that Warhammer is for everyone, it is not based on hate, it is satire, and that far-right people should fuck off from the hobby, basically.
But again, it is literally not satire. Games Workshop does not understand its own setting, which they demonstrated in this post, by the way. The Imperium is driven by hate, Warhammer is not, where they disavow the Space Marines in total, essentially, as just the bad guys, after going, there are no good guys in the 41st millennium, but by declaring one to be worse than the others, especially not the Imperium of Man, as they put it, they remove the moral grey area. They are elevating some over others, even as the Imperium are not the bad guys. The Imperium are merely attempting to continue their own existence, as is every other species in the 41st millennium. There is nothing immoral about wanting to be alive.
So that's nice, but at the same time, Games Workshop is commissioning video games that neglect the satire in favor of a broader appeal, where
leasing out the license rather than commissioning, but I get your drift.
the hero, who belongs to a literal superior race, selflessly protects his civilization from the marauding hordes of freaks and degenerates.
But that's true, though. Again, this is the problem. This is exactly the same reason why the satire falls flat. You are presenting Titus defending a world against Tyranids and going, well, you know, here is our hero, defending humanity against ravenous space aliens. I think this is bad. You're insane.
And this is seen by far-right people who, in their own imaginations, are heroes who belong to a superior race, selflessly protecting their civilization from the marauding hordes of freaks and degenerates. And
hold on. Keep that in mind for a second, because I have a sneaking suspicion I know what his remedy to this is going to be.
so they identify with Warhammer 40K. They are drawn to Warhammer 40K content. They co-opt the aesthetics of Warhammer 40K. No matter how many statements Games Workshop makes, no matter how much they insist on 40K being satire, as long as the ultra-popular games make the Imperium look cool and badass, righteous even, the far-right will inevitably stay in its orbit and try to co-opt it. This is why Warhammer 40K, in my opinion, is doomed to always have far-right hanger-ons, unless they take the lore into a different direction. And I'm not quite sure how to do that while also preserving the grimdark setting, which is one of the main appeals of the IP.
Wait for it. My solution is to make it left-wing.
You have some ideas here, though. I think what would help is getting more left-leaning people into the hobby. Also, Games Workshop could add more diversity to the Imperium just to make the Chuds angry. Female Space Marines? Hell yeah. Female Adeptus Custodes? Naturally. Adopt us Custodes. Also, add more skin colors. The ensuing outrage will basically be free advertising, and those who are put off by that, you don't want them in the hobby anyway. Do you have some more ideas?
You do know you can paint the models any shade you want, right? But okay, right. So, this is exactly what I thought it would be, on the fucking dot. Okay, so, the complaint is, my political opposition is looking at this thing and going, well, I'm the hero of this setting. This champions my politics. Therefore, I want more of my politics in it because I see myself in it. That's my evil opposition's point of view, okay? What is your solution? Well, my solution is that I be the hero. I be the superior hero fighting against the evil opposition, the degenerates, in my setting by making my setting more my politics. My dude, you're a literal walking horseshoe meme. You want the exact same thing as the right-wingers. The precise same thing. You are a far-righter by a different color. You are the red with a yellow hammer instead of the red with a black swastika in it. You are the same socialist root, the same exact split between the national and the international socialist. Because the position here isn't to make 40K a right-wing setting or a left-wing setting, it is to simply allow it to be 40K. 40K is not making any real comments on politics. It is not putting forth an aspirational future. It's not saying like, hey, we should probably do like the Imperium of Man. No. Literally, nobody thinks this way. Nobody thought this way. Before the left-wing infiltration of 40K, nobody was looking at it as an aspirational setting. Like, oh, we should really adopt some of these policies. No, It is a grim, dark setting. It was the definition of a grim, dark setting. God help me. It is the left who are now politicizing this. And you even admit here, like, what is the left wing politicized? By literal Marxism, by actual cultural Marxism. What is the... 1,555 followers. God help me. And what is the politicization? The politicization is female space marines. It is female custodies. There you go. There is our opposition to these things. It is add my skin color in it. That is the politicization. You admit to it. This is why we rail against it. You go, hey, I want to insert my politics into this via female space marines. And the rest of us go, could we not politicize this? And then your answer is, oh, I'm not politicizing it. I'm just trying to make it more left-wing. Deskluger, help me. This is why I am morally superior to you, okay? My position is, do not insert right-wing politics. Do not insert left-wing politics. Gatekeep instead both sides that try to do this. Join the hobby, change the hobby. That's the thing. Join the hobby, open door. Change the hobby, close door. Simple as. When we need to enforce the tyranny of neutrality on this yet again. Bring up politics at the tabletop, get thrown out. Bring up politics in the discussion of a game, get shut down. Simple as that. That is what we need. No left-wing infiltration, no right-wing infiltration. As the only reason now why we are bringing any politics up into this at all is because it was brought in at first. The left moved in, and I talked about this in previous videos, by politicizing everything. The left-wing playbook is quite simple. They enter into a setting, then they find a part of that setting, and they go, aha, this part is political, and it always just so happens to be, mysteriously, my politics. Wow, what a coincidence! Just like everything else my media literacy brain has told me is left-wing. Wow. So, now that we've determined that this is a left-wing setting, we've got to make it more left-wing. Otherwise, those evil right-wingers will come in and co-opt it. Meanwhile, everyone else is sitting there like, no, dude, it's literally just the lore. It's always been this way. It's the water is wet of this universe. Why are you trying to change it for your politics? And the only way, of course, to counter the argument of everything is political is to say, okay, you have it your way then. It is political. It's right-wing. Now fuck off. That is the solution. Right-wing is now neutrality. Right-wing is now, no, you don't talk about this. No, we don't discuss this. No, we don't change the law for external reasons. That is what right-wing has become. It is a label that people have not adopted willingly. It is one that has been assigned to people as a matter of self-defense. As, well, the bottom of this video points out again very well. Gatekeep or be gate-kept. Those are your options. The left are telling you they will continue to push more leftism in. They will continue to add in female space marines. They will continue to add in female custodies. And the reason? To piss you off. That is the sole stated objective that they are doing this. It is not to make the game better. It is not to make the law better. It is not to make it more inclusive or anything like that. It is to aggress upon you. They are stating it to you again and again and again. There is no space here for anyone who isn't a left winger. It is obvious. It is repeated ad infinitum by those of the single most intolerant political persuasion we have probably seen in human history. Socialism. Gatekeep or be gate-kept. Always. It is your only option. Right. Well, these were finally at the end, so let's see. Let's get back to the Superchats as well to wrap it up. Where was I? Ah, there we go. Why are you hating? We should give him to the bugs to talk peace. That would no doubt work out very well indeed. That would no doubt be a huge success, I'm sure. A huge success. Ismail Thompson, do you think this all came about because the Krieg range refresh was so popular it broke the leftist brain and they have to overcompensate to combat it? No, I think this is a reaction to Trump, honestly. This has always been kind of like bubbling underneath the surface, and every few months it comes up again. But I do expect we'll see more of it with Trump in office. Scarf the Strange, was this guy unable to get a sponsorship from Incogni? I don't know, I like the Delete Me sponsorship. It fits in very well. It is perfect for this. Colorel, you couldn't make a true to form 40K game. It would be a war crime simulator. GTA franchise exists. That's a very good point, actually. It's a very good point. Mark Ashamed, since Spartans can be female, Halo Studios announced the Master Chief will be a woman in the remake. Hold for dramatic pause. Made you look. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. Zero Firewater, I didn't know this was going on for an hour. Ninoa, did you see the dev got shit on by Pippa? I did not see that, no. Marta Shamed, the massacre of Cormag, the Xenos Cardiff took over Cormag 2, despite resistance, didn't end until the Star Phantoms arrived. However, the population was too corrupted, so the Emperor's mercy was given. Well, again, see, that's a justified massacre, though, isn't it? Like, okay, the population has literally been corrupted to the point where we cannot rehabilitate them. This is clearly a dangerous form of Xenos influence. Purge. Martin Shamed. New YouTube trend, Archbait. Make videos about Arch's favorite settings such as Warhammer, Starship Troopers, Judge Dredd, or Battletech. So cringe that Arch makes a livestream on it. For the algorithm. For the algorithm, indeed. I mean, my algorithm must be doing pretty well today. 2,300 people still. We're doing quite well. Again, spread the word, people. Spread the word. Tell everyone. Tell your children. Tell your spouses. Tell your dog. Gatekeep or die. Simple as. Zero Hero 1458 saying, don't get me wrong, and I Spike from Space Paint 2 is like saying, don't get me wrong, I have a black friend. Cool Dude is a 4208. Hey, he says you don't get a vivid image from books because he has no inner voice and cannot envision what is written down. Oh yeah, the person who can't envision things. See, unfortunately, I am cursed with the exact opposite of that, but maybe. Like, there was that survey that way more people on the left can't see images in their mind, which seems like such just an absurd situation for me, but I guess that might be a thing. Burn Burnson, Warcraft 3 literally had you play Arthur's genocide. That's a good point as well. You did do that, yeah. I'm pretty sure, wasn't there a mission where you killed Civi so that you could build meat carts, the catapults, that fling like dismembered bodies and stuff? I think so. Toby the Drink becomes a member. Thank you very much. Taras Shvenko, Adam is describing Hong Kong 97 and his 1.2 billion quality game. Elsie's Kentucky, delete me sounds like a service to hire a professional to come by house and delete you. Oh, I like it. It's a good word for it.
Heresy's the question. Fire is
Mark
the
99,
answer.
this game has never played Saints Row 2. Wow, yeah, no, there's actually a surprising number of, like, crime is fun games. And seeing as GTA, 4 is, like, the single largest video game in history, I don't know, I think crime simulators are actually pretty popular. Zero, unrelated, but I just remembered, Yarek. Poor Yarek. I hate the fact that they just wrote him out of the entire setting, just on a whim. You Musugama? Purging a Chaos Hive would be a hiccup.
Service guaranteed citizenship.
Cool game, though. It would. Taras Shevchenko. If playing a Space Marine, as he claims is described in the lore, is awful and would never be made, would playing a Slaneshi cultist, basically rape play, be a game he preferred to play? God, I remember when there was an actual game called Rape Play or something, and it was a huge controversy at the time, and now, now it's just a fetish game. Lenarian, replacement is a conspiracy thing. I thought Keir Starmer was flat out admitting it now. He did basically admit it in, what was it, yesterday's speech or something? It's like, yes, mass immigration was not an accident, it was an agenda. Oh, thank you, Keir. I mean, I know, but it's nice to have it said in public. Most next 21, Ariel, for Get the Ballpark, you were within first base. The ballpark. Hexy, it's a conspiracy, but if it's happening, that's good. Well, yeah, no, literally. That is the mainstream media view on it. Neil89, aka Dislike Puns. Notice how the arguments devolve into absolute and lies as they lose ground. As infuriating as this drivel is, it also means we're winning. Take heart. That is true, but you have to push back against it where you see it. Very important. Boog, you agree with him on Superman. Analyze why. Well, it's very simple. Clark Kent is the character. Clark Kent is the character. Clark Kent is the reason why Superman does things. Clark Kent is the id, the alter ego, the actual existence of that character. Superman is the persona he takes on to save the world. So Superman is not the character. Superman is the alter ego. Thus, the character of Superman should be subservient to the character of Clark. Thus, Clark should always be the primary focus of a Superman story because he is the reason why Superman does anything. It's the same for Batman. If you're going to do Batman well, Bruce Wayne needs to be the main character because Bruce Wayne is the moral compass. Batman is simply, yet again, the tool he uses to carry out his actions. Though, I didn't really get the feel of uncaring God from the Superman movies, so... When Dean's gifted 10 ArchCast membership, let's see, do I recognize anyone there? Alfarius, I recognize Alfarius, there you go. So, if you're going to give another donation, let me know, and I will give you the 30% bonus for catching someone I recognize in that to any fund you wish to have. Cuban922, and I don't agree with him, I agree with the YouTube video he stole the point from. Cuban922, guys out of touch. The right's excited about an Indian FBI director, and Twitter all weekend has been about a lefty and a right glowy finding gay love. That is true. Like, again, the alt-right, the far-right, they pretty much disappeared like 5 years ago. They are not a relevant political force anymore. Right now, the alt-right is simply the 90s Democrat center, in essence. It's just that, the fucking window again. God, I keep forgetting the goddamn window. Overton, the Overton window, has shifted so far to the left that even the most milquetoast taste is right-wing now. Got King Trump, with the previous Horus Heresy question, some of the vids on your main channel have been removed. Was asking about all platforms where they may be Deathclaw. Unfortunately, no, I haven't been uploading that to Rumble, mostly because the Rumble thing breaks constantly, and I can't get it to update automatically, which is a big goddamn annoyance. John Jim might be a genius for watching his dum-dum video. I mean, rage bait, I guess, but the dude has 1 million subscribers. I don't think he needs the hate clicks.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Draken935. This is what happens when you do not document actual history and only listen to today's internet-diluted heresy of politics and morality. Carry on, Inquisitor. The stick until they learn. The stick, and only the stick. The Deal89, aka Dislike Punts. This Joker is projection is a mirror-made manifest. Is projection is a mirror-made manifest. Hexy, oh hell no, we don't Discadia. The planet broke before the god did. Yes, correct. Otrigador, those are fighting words, yes. Isel Thompson, external enemy with that Kadir comment. Walkie Skeleton, the man is so dense he moonlights his sandbags. That's an innovative way of putting it. Commander CDC, this whole video reminds me of extra credit. Oh yes, I remember the extra credit video. The don't make me play a Nazi video. I remember that one. Colorado dude thinks his echo chamber is reality. I mean, I don't even know if he has an echo chamber. It comes across as if he's literally taken all of his points from other people, regurgitated it with a fundamentally faulty understanding of the thing he's talking about, and then kind of just like, good enough, put it on the internet. In St. Linguist, he's now just throwing shit at the wall, hoping anything sticks. I mean, yeah, he barely made any points in the 40K part of the video. His 40K part of the video was, they're fascist, never explains why or anything, and then goes, killing people bad. It's like, okay, sure, what did the people do? Oh, they're genocidal, supremacist space aliens. That does add in a little bit of context to it, doesn't it? Zedikai, we're currently in the it's not happening, but it would be good if it was part of the media cycle. Lunar Legion, question, where did the Arch Salt Cow go? Haven't seen her in a while. She's still somewhere. She's still somewhere, but... where's the Salt Cow? The Salt Cow is somewhere in my confused folder of stuff. The Salt Cow was invented in like 2016 and has unfortunately been relatively rarely used since. God, I don't even know where the Salt Cow is anymore. I do have this one. Good girl. The Salt Cow. But where is the Salt Cow animation? Where is it? I will find it now.
Citizenship.
There it is. There you go, chat. Some 2016, not even ArchCast or even Arch, but Arch Warhammer lore right there. Some truly old school lore. Marksman of 117B, another clown for entertainment. Also Deathclaw. Curse you, sir. Curse you. Gavin, people's failure to properly understand the Schrodinger's cat has been a disaster for mankind. Yes, it has. To Neil, 89 can dislike puns. Remember when fascism didn't mean cooties? Well, no, actually, I don't. See, that's the thing. I think, was it Orwell? Was it Orwell? I think it was Orwell who put it the best with this. Nazi has lost all meaning in the English language. The closest, equivalent, the closest meaning to Nazi is bully. That is the closest one, the closest to the meaning. It simply means bully now. And these are arguments from people who've never known hardship and don't handle pushback very well. Is this really the only arrow in their quiver? Yep, largely. Gavin, so DEI and immigration and wokeism. Mr. Personality, salamanders. The salamanders are the good guys. This is true. Elsa Zorana, we need dual-wheel desk lugers. One desk luger is not enough for this level of heresy. True. Carol, Schrodinger's shitposting. A leftist thinks the whole world is as stupid as they are. Yeah, kinda. Scarlet Strange, they already have Star Wars, but even that's not enough for them. That's why I prefer obscurity over mainstream. It does have its benefits, it's true. Oh, God, it's scrolled. Why must it scroll? To Neil, putting the re in scree. Not alternative, but Arch, there are some jokes and references here and there that could be considered satire. Therefore, 40K as a whole is totally a satire, bro. Ah, yes. That is the other argument. Listen, there was Sherlock Holmes, Obi-Wan Clouseau from Rogue Trader, okay? Clearly satirical. Yeah, how old is that? Oh, I don't know, 30, 40 years at this point in a completely different version of the game? Philip Lewis, I'm calling it $10 for the Overlord Raising Hell Fund. Also Gatekeep, yes, we'll see if we can work our way through all 5 games. Though the 2015 one is viewed like Dawn of War 3 for the fan community. I actually liked all of them, I remember. I liked all of them to some extent. Alright, well, you are free to start any funds you want, so I am going to put that up there. Amazing. Hell. Taras Shvenko asked the tourist, when they want to make the lore more representative, do you want the real world to be more like 40K? I mean, again, that's the thing. This guy isn't making the argument that he's even doing this for representation. He's not even attempting to veil it behind the usual mask. The usual mask is, oh, you know, I just want more women and minorities in the hobby. That's all. I just want to make it more welcoming. He just straight up goes, no, just more left-wing politics. I just want more left-wing politics. That is all. That is the sum total of his argument. And hey, at least he's honest about it, I guess. Scarf the Strange, how much for you to play Atlas? I don't even know what Atlas is. Atlas. Google. Atlas. Game. Atlas. A furry MMO. A furry MMO in early access.
Service guarantees citizenship.
An infinite amount of money? It is an MMO, so it would be difficult to actually, like, figure out a playtime or anything. Carol, Batman is superego made manifest, and as such the version of Bruce he aspires to be. I will die on this hill. Oh, you will die on it, that's for sure. See, here's the thing, again. Bruce is the moral compass. Bruce is the reason why Batman does anything. And as Batman only does anything because of Bruce, it is Bruce that is the fountain from which Batman flows. Without a Bruce Wayne, there is no Batman. That is why Bruce Wayne is the superego of the two. He is the main character. Marked ashamed. Arch bait videos. Bring the left to Arch's channel. Not all failures. I think my favorite comment on that video are the ones that cite the Imperium being awful as evidence that 40K is satire. Because satire is when there's a dystopia, I guess. Oh yeah, no. We've talked about this with Jonathan Hayth's Moral Foundations now on several occasions. That the left are unable to view something that goes against their core moral pillars as anything good. Thus, they cannot see a action taken against the Care Foundation as a good action, no matter how justified. And since it must always be evil, they can then go, oh, that's satire, because you would never do anything so evil, because they are, again, literally, physically incapable of conceptualizing of a good action taken for a right-wing reason. Tennille, 89. Could this guy be a reincarnated Jack Thompson? I don't think he's dead yet, is he? So he can't be reincarnated. It must be the same guy. Deans, I've always said it, the media literacy crowd are some of the most illiterate people you'll ever hear from. Yes. Joseph Citadino, as a Zinch demon player, I am embarrassed that us on this side of chaos are associated with dinguses like this guy. At least your leftists on Earth are mostly Sineshi cultists, and not in my camp. That is true. Strigoi, for whatever you want, to push Deathclaw down. Okay. Good. We must push down the Deathclaw. We must push down the Deathclaw. There. And, we're gonna, okay, right. I'm gonna put my finger on the weight scale again. Any donations for anti-Deathclaw gets to double. So, I'm gonna add that to the Total War 1212 AD fund as well. The Total War medieval mod for Attila, I think it is.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Anything to play unfair with the Deathclaw. Must push the Deathclaw down harder. Deans, the liberal versus conservative moral allocated heat map remains undefeated. Kick Twin. Finally, Betsy the Salt Cow. You get a super chat for remembering the original channel mascot from ye ol' halcyon days of the main channel. It has been a very long time indeed. Hexy, may your hobbies become mainstream. A curse, considered the most vile amongst beast and men, no doubt. Blaze Stone, hail Art, our Lord and Saviour. Hello to future me, as I'm basically starting the stream now. Any good stories about Rogue Trader you can think of, Lord Inquisitor? Also, Angel from Borderlands 2.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Angel from Borderlands 2. There we go. And 30% bonus for Streamlabs. Good stories from Rogue Trader. Nothing leaps to mind immediately.
Fire is the answer.
I kind of liked how the Space Marines were just police officers back then. Like, I like the piece of artwork where they've got a thug pushed up against the wall and they're frisking him with batons. I always like that. Just goddamn Space Marines frisking a dude on the street for no reason. I thought that was funny. Hexy, Batman should kill like the Shadow. Pull the roots. He should. Like, that's the problem. Again, that's the thing. That's another reason why Bruce is the main character. Because Bruce does not want to kill. Because Bruce does not want to risk leaving any more orphans like himself. Because Bruce is not very happy with himself. He's not happy being this brooding, subsumed by revenge creature of the night. He doesn't think this is a very good way to live. He views it, in fact, as a little bit of a curse almost, which is why he's on multiple occasions tried to reject his sidekicks, although sometimes he's far too open with them as well, details, but that is the only reason why the Batman doesn't kill. Because for the Batman, killing would be the obvious solution. He is there to inspire terror. Not only should the Batman be killing, the Batman should be killing in the most imaginatively gruesome fashion you can possibly imagine. Joseph Citadino, somewhat unrelated, but 10th edition 40k is kind of bad. Give me back my psychic phase, please. Dear God, give me back my psychic phase. The Real Zartax, bring back dueling / Holmgang. Maya, I agree. We should really bring back Holmgang. It was a fine tradition. We have lost much by abolishing it. Bellsquill, Anti-Deathclaw Pro Lumi at Horsefeet. Good. Lumi must be made to watch the Horsefeet forever.
Fire is the answer.
Brendan, for $50. Thank you very much, sir. WSA has 50 for Kibella. What's she at? Kibella will now be then at 350, and you can then double dip that into any game fund you want. So, let's see. We've got Wanna Hug the Gator, 1212 AD, Overlord Raising Hell, and the Nightmare Moon Fund, which we haven't even started the playthrough that's supposed to fund that yet. So just tag me in the chat, like at the ArchCast, so I can see it, and then let me know which one of those, or another game entirely if you wish, that you wish to donate that to. We should be starting the Alien Isolation Fund at some point as well, but I'm putting that off.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the answer.
Mercenaries 81, Ariel. All my Ariels help goes to drop Deathclaw. Oh, poor Ariel. Poor little Deathclaw. Poor Ariel and poor little Deathclaw.
Service guarantees citizenship.
Gavin, why don't you have to, you don't have to play it on stream, but here's the exact amount necessary to play 5 Hearts Under One Roof in a world of Dragon Age and Avowed. It's a shoe-in for Game of the Year. 5 Hearts Under One Roof? That looks unacceptable. That looks very, very unacceptable on so many levels. So many levels. Calario, cow-licking salt is how gods were born in Norse mythology. We're closing the loop. That is correct, yes. We did indeed create gods by having a cow lick a salt pillar. That did happen. That was a thing that actually occurred, as mildly absurd though that may sound. Real Zartax for 1,000 Norwegian kroners. Thank you very much, sir. If we're doing double anti-Deathclaw, I'm nominating the second best waifu after Maya. Torka. Torka from... Oh, Torka. Oh, yes, the one with the... wait, that's... Is that one with the big sword? Torka? Oh, no, it's... Yes. The Evan Kur. The Evan Kur, yes. Torka is best waifu. Now, okay... I'm split between Torka and... What's her name? The one with the giant sword. Karula? Yes, Karula. I'm split between Torka and Karula. If forced to choose, it would have to be Torka, because Torka is just fucking adorable. God, her plotline in the original game... Oh, loved it. I loved it so much. She is the most adorable little thing in the history of ever. She really is. She's an adorable little thing, and everybody loves her. Well, Maya is very safe right now, so you can always switch over to... Well, no. To Torko as well. But which game fund do you want it to? God damn it. Throw Deathclaw in a different calendar. Oh, cruel. Cruel and unusual, I say. Again, at me in the chat, like at the ArchCast, because that'll actually make my name light up so I can see it. Deans, well, now you've done it, put this and... Oh, help me. Put...
Fire is the
Put
answer.
this and last hand towards Deathclaw. Towards Deathclaw. God damn it. Why do people like Deathclaw? I don't understand why people like Deathclaw. I think people should rate you the Deathclaw. Father Jack the Enlightened. Bruce, I don't want orphans to be like me, so I won't Minecraft. Thomas Wayne in Flashpoint. Pew pew pew. Got pew pew on bad guys. He does do that. He does do that. 5 hearts under one roof fund. It's really good. Oh, boy. And it's not that Torka is best because she is 100% loyal to the end. She'd do anything for you if she sworn to you. Also, what's Deathclaw at in comparison? Deathclaw is at 740. So, yeah. She's pretty far up. Whilst the Torka is now at like 95. Due to good old-fashioned conversion rates. But yeah, Deathclaw, you guys like the big dick Deathclaw too much. I don't like it. Anbanar, I'm already going to play Anbanar. Don't worry, Sarta, you can send it to anything else. I will play Anbanar eventually. And Brand, Nightmare Moon. Okie dokie. I shall add that to the Nightmare Moon then.
Heresy's the question. Fire is the
Nightmare
answer.
Moon. And not Alfarius. This and previous 2 chats to push that wretched Deathclaw down. Goddamn filthy, dirty Deathclaw. Nobody likes the Deathclaw. Actually, way too many people like the Deathclaw. That is the sort of the problem I'm currently having here. And Lord Commissar Spartan. I put a few hours into Atlas. It's only got a couple of areas in early access yet, but a fun 2-3 hour stream. I'd say maybe worth a second stream too, if you have fun with it. Also, funny jiggle physics. 5 caps to the Deathclaw. God damn it. You know, we're gonna need to... The Deathclaw has been remarkably profitable, which I will say, but... We need to get your powers organized in something a bit more, proper and relevant. Maybe, okay, we're gonna do that, we're gonna do Mass Effect at some point, and I'll put all of my efforts into killing off Tali. Despite the fact that will hurt my little Kokoro an awful lot, because Tali is best girl, but... I don't know. Tali skyrocketed on the calendar when there was a threat of getting her off the calendar.
Service guarantees citizenship.
We're gonna have to try and kill Tali. Yes. The Kill Tali stream. I like it. Stealing Kibbs' idea? Yep. We shall kill Tali. It must be done. Elsa Solana, when is Sucker for Love 2 coming? I figure what I'll probably do is... I'm gonna try and get Vampire the Masquerade started this December. So we're gonna play that, try to finish it. And then we're gonna do Snoot Game maybe next week. We'll see. to try and get that started too, to get through it, and then we'll probably do Sucker for Love thereafter as our fine little visual novel game. Yeah, that might be it. I'm still trying to figure out the exact whens and whys of what we're gonna do. The Eccentric Ripper, all this dollar and no physical calendar, Arch, equals thief. Listen, the physical calendar would raise like, we were already basically funding the art itself. The physical calendar, oh god, what would it cost to get that printed? Jesus. I don't even want to think about it. And shipping, oy. Like $20,000, $30,000 stretch goals. That'd be terrible. I would not do this to you, chat. Maybe we could do this like a super duper stretch goal next year, but the thing is, I bet like 5 of you would actually order the actual calendar. I have a
Heresy's the question.
piece of
Fire is
dust
the answer.
and or eyelash in my eye, which is a problem right now. Marksman, for all these retards complain about Warhammer, it does feel like their power is waning a bit, as even the normies flooding in look at them like freaks. So only GW's retardation will once more be the threat to the fandom. Also boosts that Deathclaw higher. You fucking freaks and weirdos, you. Freaks and weirdos. Freaks and weirdos. Freaks and weirdos. Again. And with that, I think we're through, are we? I think we're through. And stick to Rumble. Yep, I think we're through. I think we're through, chat. Okay. I am going to go and try and pick a piece of eyelash out of my goddamn eye. Now, remember, again, for the umpteenth time, gatekeep. Gatekeep always. Even though the normies have at this point begun to rally against it, thank God, there are still people with disturbingly large followings out there who insist on forcing their half-formed, underdeveloped, poorly conceived opinions into everybody else's settings. The only way we can make sure we get rid of this completely is by making it thoroughly and unequivocally socially unacceptable to do so. That's it. So spread the video around, spread the talking points around, and if you see other movies like this or videos, do go ahead, send it my way, and we shall take it down together. Until next time, chat, I will see you all again soon. And let's see. Anybody streaming today? Rosa streaming today. We do like Rosa. Rosa is our friend. We shall raid Rosa. Rosa is friend. Good night, chat, and go say hello to Rosa for me.